Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move to adjourn the December 1st, 2020 meeting.
Second, Madam Chair, Carlisle.
Thank you. It has been moved by Vice Chairman Covet and seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Do we have any unfinished business on December 1st agenda? Seeing none, that meeting has now been adjourned. Sergeant at Arms, please call our December 15th meeting to order.
Oh, yes. This Honorable Council of the City of Memphis is hereby called to order for the transaction of business pursuant to adjournment.
Thank you. I would like to recognize our chaplain for today, Reverend Corey Phillips McMurtry, First Presbyterian Church, and he was invited by our own Councilman Warren. He will provide our prayer. Chaplain.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. In this season of hope, yearning, and expectation, we acknowledge a power greater than ourselves, an interconnectedness that reminds us we are not alone. Therefore, let us pray. Holy God, we commend to your merciful care our city of Memphis, our neighbors and communities for whom you have called us to care. We ask your blessing upon this meeting and those who hold office for the governing of our city, that they may do their work in a spirit of wisdom, kindness, and justice. Help them to use their authority to serve faithfully in a time such as this, where your whole world groans with grief. We watch and we wait with hope for healing and a time we might embrace one another face to face. We remember, oh God, in our work and our prayers, those who serve others, nurses, doctors, shelter workers, caregivers, frontline workers, and volunteers of every kind. Fill them with your breath of life as they bind up the brokenhearted, heal bodies, and bury the dead. Grant, O God, that your life-giving spirit so move every human heart into a way of love and justice that makes room for all peoples, that breaks down barriers of hatred and racism and fear, that we might live in the beauty of your. Amen.
Oh, thank you for those beautiful words of prayer. Thank you so much. I recognize Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Reverend Corey, for those great words. And guys, we also owe her a big thank for what she did with our church when she took the homeless women into the church until we as a city could get our act together. So she actually opened up our sanctuary, and we were the first women's homeless shelter when this COVID thing hit. Corey, thank you for that and for those words. And we'll all strive to live in kindness and justice and to bring joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Warren, and thank you, Reverend Corey. Councilwoman Johnson, would you please recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilwoman Johnson. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali.
Here.
Carlisle.
Present.
Vice Chairman Covet.
Here.
Easter Thomas.
Present.
Ford. Johnson.
Present.
Jones.
Present.
Logan,
Present.
Morgan,
Here.
Smiley,
Present.
Swearingen,
Present.
Warren,
Present.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Present.
Boyd,
Chairwoman, you have a quorum.
Boyd is
Thank
present.
Thank you, Councilman Ford.
Okay, thank you. Who has read the minutes of the previous meeting? Chairman Covet, Vice Chairman Covet?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Colleagues, I've reviewed our meeting minutes from December 1st, 2020, find them to be in order and move their adoption.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Canali. Madam Comptroller, will you please conduct a roll call for the minutes of our December 1st, 2020 meeting?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Covet,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. You all remember my favorite gavel.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
on item 30, the item was approved. It's the resolution on the bottled water. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
I like the gavel.
You can't have it. Well, welcome to our December 15th, 2020 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council, which is being conducted electronically pursuant to the notice due to COVID-19 emergency. Without objection, the notice of the meeting will be included in the minutes of this meeting. A notice of meeting was placed on the City Council webpage regarding how the public may electronically access the meeting and/or recording of the meeting, and how to provide written comments concerning any item or any other matter prior to this meeting. Public comments were to be submitted to the Memphis City Council 24 hours prior to today's meeting. Vice Chairman Covet will read those comments at the appropriate time. He will only read those comments that included the requisite information, which was the person's name and address. Incomplete comments or those received late will be sent to council records and placed in the file. This is our last meeting of the year. But before we begin our agenda items, I want to start by recognizing the life of Reverend James Netters, who passed away on this past Sunday at the age of 93. As you know, Reverend Netters was one of the first 3 Black council members in 1968, joining Fred Davis and J.O. Patterson Jr. His example and legacy of fighting for the people of this community is truly an example for all of us to follow, but especially for those of us who have followed in his footsteps to serve on this body. I want to send my prayers to his family and the entire congregation of Mount Vernon Church, where for 6 decades he exalted the word of God and provided guidance to those seeking to one day enter the kingdom of heaven. Before we take a moment of silence to remember Reverend James Netters. Let us also remember the 752 plus people who have lost their lives due to the coronavirus, including our own community leader, Donnell Cobbins, who was added to that list last week while we were remembering those souls. Let's also pray for those who are actively battling the virus. Let's take a moment of silence now. Thank you. This afternoon, we're holding items number 22 as well as 32. Are there any other items that I should be holding before I move
Chairwoman
forward?
Robinson, we're holding those until what date, please?
2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And I need to also make an announcement of a housekeeping item. Items 18 and 19 on the MLGW consent agenda are listed as same night items. I have been asked to disregard that note as same night minutes. Okay? So let's mark items number 18 and 19. They do not require same night minutes. Madam Comptroller, will you please move to item number 1?
Item number 1 is presentation of the 2020 Memphis City Council Humanitarian Award.
Thank you. That presentation will be made by Councilman Carlisle and Canale. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had the opportunity to pre-record the presentation with the family, and I think Ms. Hayes has it on her computer.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hayes. We can't hear it.
Good afternoon, colleagues and everyone watching. Today, I present the 2020 Memphis City Council Humanitarian Award to the Scheit family in honor of the legendary Rudy and Helen Honeyscheit. It is an honor to stand here at the University of Memphis Rudy E. Scheit School of Music to present this award, although under different circumstances. While practicing social distancing and wearing masks, this is a well-deserved award. We stand here and commemorate the legacy of both Rudy and Honey, individuals that dedicated themselves to the betterment of all man and cultural harmony among all men and women. And with that, I present to you the resolution. Whereas Rudy and Helen Honeyscheit are being awarded the 2020 Memphis City Council Humanitarian Award for their vigorous and zealous work in enriching the lives of others through their philanthropic endeavors throughout the Memphis arts community. And whereas the legendary Rudy and Honey Scheit were true advocates for Memphis, Tennessee, and as community benefactors, they led and endorsed many efforts to broaden cultural opportunity and to give back to the city that they so greatly loved. And whereas, joined in matrimony in 1954, the charitable couple enjoyed a passion for the arts, which through their generosity over the decades of stewardship, transformed the local arts community as a place where access to the wonders of the arts could be available and appreciated by all. And whereas, in the early 1960s, Rudy and Honey Scheit played a pivotal role in bringing the Metropolitan Opera to Memphis, and their combined efforts helped develop the groundwork for what we know today as the Opera Memphis. The couple was also instrumental in bringing Ramses the Great exhibit from Egypt, first to Memphis and then throughout the United States. Their initial work became the underpinning for Wonders, the Memphis International Cultural Series that included numerous exhibitions of artifacts from across the world and propelled our tourism industry to Memphis. Whereas ardent supporters of the University of Memphis, Rudy and Honey Scheit helped to establish the University of Memphis's Institute for Egyptian Art and Archaeology, funding several projects, including the transportation of the coffin of Patiatum, that now resides in the university's art museum in 2000. Rudy and Honey Scheit pioneered efforts to revive, reshape, and expand music education at the University of Memphis, where the Rudy E. Scheit School of Music was named in gratitude of Mr. Scheit's contributions and the distinction the school holds as an international reputation for excellence. Whereas, contributing to the success and strong foundation of various organizations, Rudy and Honey Scheit served on numerous boards, including the Memphis Library Foundation, the Germantown Performing Arts Center, the Dixon Gallery of Art, the Brooks Museum of Art, the Newcomb Art Museum and Foundation Board, Memphis in May, the Rock and Soul Museum, the Memphis College of Art, and the World Literacy Foundation. And the couple were also committed mentors to numerous local businessmen and women. Whereas, throughout their lives, Rudy and Honey Scheit have garnered many awards and recognition for their impeccable service and their impassioned pleas that people would come together at a table of cultural understanding and brotherhood. Reminiscent of Dr. Martin Luther King's call. Receiving the Humanitarian of the Year Award from the National Conference of Christians and Jews in 1999 and the Tennessee Governor's Art Leadership Award, being awarded honorary degrees from the University of Memphis and recognized by the Memphis Music Commission, the Liberty Bowl, the Germantown Performing Arts Center, and the Memphis Library. Now, therefore be it resolved that this Memphis City Council not only praises, but commends Rudy and Honey Scheit for their unwavering commitment to all citizens of Memphis and asks their loving family and friends to accept on their behalf the 2020 Memphis City Council Humanitarian Award. Be it further resolved that this city, all its leaders and residents heed Rudy and Helen Honey Scheit as examples of a life and work that embodies genuine and unwavering resolve to benefit all mankind, regardless of their station in life, in the tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King. Adopted December 15th, 2020. Councilman Canale, who was a co-sponsor, could not be here, had a few words he would like for me to share. I regret that I cannot be with you in person today. When you consider the pillars of this community, you cannot create that list without the names of Rudy and Honey Scheit. The definition of humanitarian was the very fiber of their existence. But their desire to promote human welfare went beyond financial gifts. They genuinely and deeply cared about people and making others' lives better. This city is better for having them, and I cannot think of a more deserving couple for this award. My only regret that this should have been given sooner. On behalf of a grateful city, we feel blessed to have had them in our lives and theirs and ours. Thank you for accepting this award on their behalf. And we know the humanitarian spirit of Honey and Rudy will long live on in the lives of Susan, Helen, Elkin, Rudy Jr., and the 11 grandchildren and 7 great-grandchildren. God bless each of you, and thank you again for sharing them with us. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much for those kind words about our family and mostly about our parents. My parents truly, truly loved the city of Memphis. They loved all the citizens of the city of Memphis. They thought the city had so much potential, and they would love to set an example for all of us to live the lives they did of support of their city, both financially and with their time and efforts to take it further. They loved the arts, they loved music, they loved education, they loved everything about Memphis, including our sports teams. They all the time, they wore their Tiger stuff everywhere. But mostly, they really believed in the people of Memphis. They thought that the potential of this city was one of the greatest assets around. And on behalf of my whole family, again, I thank everybody in the city council, all you people that are here today, socially distanced. We truly appreciate the recognition that you're giving us. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Was that Canali that seconded?
It was
Yes.
told that if Canali wants to second, I think it's his honor, certainly.
Yes.
I couldn't get my mute button.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that presentation. We are so proud of our honorees on today. Council, let's give them a hand. I know, let's do that symbolically, although we're in COVID-19. Let's do that. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, and congratulations again for our 2020 Memphis City Council Humanitarian Award winners. Madam Comptroller, will you please call item number 2?
Item number 2 is a resolution recognizing Jennifer Oswalt for her excellent stewardship of the Downtown Memphis Commission. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Carlisle.
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Colleagues, as you know, and we've discussed, our own Jennifer Oswalt will be leaving us. And this will be her final meeting here with us in Memphis, as she is going to help lead a family office in the eastern part of the state. And I just had the privilege and pleasure of working with her over the last several years as she has stewarded the city of Memphis and downtown forward. And I believe that she is beyond worthy of our accolades. And with that, whereas when worthy circumstances arise, the Memphis City Council has seen fit to honor and acknowledge those who have served this community. And Jennifer Oswalt is certainly worthy of being honored for her diligence and civic leadership. And whereas a native Memphian, Jennifer Oswalt graduated from the Haslam College of Business at the University of Tennessee, where she quickly immersed herself within the local community. And whereas Jennifer Oswalt joined the Downtown Memphis Commission as Chief Financial Officer in 2015 and was elevated to President and CEO in 2017. Under her leadership, the downtown development pipeline has grown to more than $4 billion with multiple catalytic projects planned or underway. And whereas yearning to positively impact the lives of all Memphians by creating a stronger downtown Memphis, a downtown for everyone to live, work, and play, Jennifer Oswalt was dedicated to investing in downtown development, infrastructure, vibrancy, and activation. And whereas, while undertaking the duties and responsibilities for the overall good of our city, Jennifer Oswalt is a loving wife and mother of a superstar. And whereas, while Jennifer Oswalt approaches the end of one chapter in life at the Downtown Memphis Commission, her passion, tenacity, love for people, and commitment to the city of Memphis will never be forgotten. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Jennifer Oswalt be applauded and honored for her countless contributions and dedicated service to downtown Memphis. The Memphis City Council congratulates and wishes her the best in her future endeavors. Be it further resolved that though ink and parchment are the most inadequate to commemorate such an accomplishment, we nonetheless do spread upon the records of the city of Memphis these words with sincere respect and gratitude as we thank Jennifer Oswald for a job well done through her tireless efforts to make downtown Memphis a better place for all citizens. And I so move.
Thank
Second,
you. Thank you. Members, are there any questions? Anybody have any thing that they'd like to share with Jennifer? Let's give her a hand as she moves. Madam Comptroller, will you please conduct the roll call?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes, ma'am.
Warrington,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you. And thank you, Jennifer, for your service to the city of Memphis. Madam
you.
Comptroller,
My honor.
Jennifer, I can't hear you.
I just said thank you. It has been my honor. You all have challenged me, and I'm so hopeful for Memphis's future, and just thankful for the opportunity to have worked with you all in the previous council, and for honoring my son as well. It's just been the time of my life, and I've appreciated all of your good questions. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 3.
Item number 3 is a resolution approving a special use permit located at part of 2939 South 3rd Street and part of 2920 New Horn Lake Road, containing 7 acres in the Employment and Heavy Industrial District. This resolution is sponsored by the Office of Planning and Development. It was held from December 1st. The case number is SUP 20-12.
Thank you. Councilman Covette.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Bix, are you on the line?
Yes, sir, I am.
Thank you. Colleagues, there is no opposition to this case. It was heard in committee. We carefully did not give it any recommendation, and for the purposes of discussion, I move it to the floor as amended. Can I get a second, please?
Second, Warren.
Councilman Warren, seconds.
There goes Councilman Ford.
Councilman Ford, seconds. All right. Mr. Bix, can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, Nathan Bix, 130 North Court, here on behalf of the applicant.
All right, thank you. I see nobody in the queue. And there is no opposition.
Excuse me, I think Councilman Ford is trying to say something.
Councilman Ford, do you wish to be recognized?
After he finished, Nathan, and yeah, because I've talked with the community and hey, they kind of agreed and they're for it, okay? They were not, then they talked with Mr. Bix and they kind of came to all different conclusions, and Mr. Bix should explain what the things that they're going to be doing, and they all were in agreement.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Bix, you're recognized. You have the floor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you to Councilman Ford and Councilman Robinson and Councilman Johnson. We were supposed to be on the agenda at the last session, and we held the matter so that we could have the opportunity to meet with representatives of the community. We met particularly with Reverend Greg Stokes and Reverend Dwayne Breckenridge. And as a result of those meetings, we come forward to you with a plan, which I think both the applicant and the community support. We've made certain changes to the plan at their request. And there's just a couple things that make this different. We promised to work with them to help them obtain a SkyCop camera, which is a difficult undertaking because of the moratorium on SkyCop cameras. But in addition to that, we changed our site plan at their request. And we've also agreed to the property owner, Mr. Bells, has agreed to put a conservation easement on the bulk of the remainder of the property so that it will remain in its natural state, and it will provide a buffer between the 3rd Street side where this development is and the residential properties to the back. So I appreciate the council's direction in putting us together with the community. I think it was a good process, and I think the plan that we come forward with today is even better as a result of those interactions. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bix. Councilman Ford, I have a letter to the council from Dr. Yvonne Nelson. Would you like me to read that before you make any further comment? Thank you, sir. Colleagues, we have a letter from Dr. Yvonne Nelson of 3519 McCorkle Road, Memphis 38116. She says, thank you for another great year of service to the residents of the city of Memphis. Please let the record show that I am aware that the community surrounding this project, the individuals who will have the most impact from it being built, have spoken and agreed to certain conditions to allow for this project to proceed. With that said, I am happy to remove any previous concerns I personally expressed at the Land Use Control Board meeting on 10 September 2020 or otherwise surrounding case number SUP 20-12. Respectfully submitted, Dr. Yvonne Nelson. That concludes our public comments. Mr. Councilman Ford, would you like to be recognized? Are you good?
I'm all good. That's why I said, hey, we postponed it for us to get to the neighborhood. They made different agreements, and I think, hey, with all the different buffers and the things, and especially I want that sky cap camera. You know,
Yes,
I know
sir.
we got to hold up, but hey, there's others that put those sky caps, and I need all of that done to take
Yes,
care
sir.
of the community, and I think, hey, we're fine. Yeah, but the community is the one. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Very, very good. I see no other members in the queue wishing or seeking recognition. Madam Chairman, it was moved by Colvette, seconded by Ford. You have the ball.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Call the roll.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you
Thank
so very much.
Stand
You're
for.
welcome.
Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please
Yes,
call
ma'am.
our consent agenda items?
Item number 4 on our consent agenda is up for second reading. Ordinance number 5765 is sponsored by Human Resources Division. Item number 5 is up for second reading. Ordinance number 5766 is sponsored by the Engineering Division. Item number 6 is up for second reading. Ordinance number 5767 is sponsored by the Engineering Division. Item number 7 is up for second reading. Ordinance number 5768 is sponsored by Chairwoman Robinson. Item number 8 from the Engineering Division is a resolution approving the engineering plans of Carolina Terrace subdivision, case number S19-17, contract number CR-5348. Item number 9 is a resolution approving the engineering plans of Conwood Snuff redevelopment, contract number CR-5349. Item number 10 is a resolution approving final plat of Firestone Auto Complete on US 64. The case number is PD 15-322. The contract number is CR-5350. Item number 11 is a resolution approving the engineering plans of Memphis Rise Academy traffic signals, Raleigh-LaGrange Road at Wilfong Road. The contract number is CR-5351. Item number 12 is a resolution approving the final plat of Porter Leaf Academy 3, Orange Mound Skyview Shopping Center. The case number is Z86-126. The contract number is CR-5352. And on our add-ons, Chairwoman Robinson, we have item number 46. It's an ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances of the City of Memphis, Tennessee, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and this ordinance shall become effective. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5769 is sponsored by Chairwoman Robinson. That concludes our consent agenda items.
Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Who said so moved?
Canali.
Thank you. And I heard Dr. Warren with the second. I see one person in the queue, Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Don't we have add-ons 46, 47, and 48? The last one that was emailed was only through 45, but add-on 46 was read, and I thought 47 and 48 were going to be the two items from Economic Development Committee that Councilman Colbert moved, number 5 and 6, and one of them should have been on the add-ons as it's an ordinance should have been on the consent agenda since it's an ordinance for first reading.
Hey, Councilman Morgan, I'm going to send you an email with that information just momentarily to correct that. If you give me one moment.
Consent agenda as well?
It will have to be added from the floor, and I'm going to send that to you with the captions and resolutions right now.
Let me ask a question. Can I move forward with my consent agenda items that I currently have?
Yes, Chairwoman Robinson, this is Valerie.
Yes, Valerie.
Correct. We should move forward at this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't see anyone else in the queue. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan?
Aye.
Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley?
Yes.
Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the MLGW fiscal consent agenda items?
Item number 13 is a resolution awarding contract number 12230 Accelerun Prepay to Accelerun Software LLC in the funded amount of $1,920,000. Item number 14 is a resolution awarding contract number 12236 Meter Support Maintenance to Honeywell in the funded amount of $5,253,180. Item number 15 is a resolution approving change number 8 to contract number 10927, perpetual licensing agreement with Pitney Bowes Software Incorporated in the funded amount of $148,000 $148,082.41. Item number 16 is a resolution awarding contract number 12154, surveying services to Olar Surveying Company, LLC, in the funded amount of $135,425. Item number 17 is a resolution approving change number 3 to contract number 12016, armored car service with Brinks Incorporated to provide daily pickup of cash receipts at all MLGW community offices in the funded amount of $30,000. Item number 18, resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 11801, prescription benefits management with Express Scripts in the funded amount of $6,018,625. And item number 19 is a resolution awarding contract number 12162, prescription benefits management to CVS in the funded amount of $59,587,000.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Councilwoman Easter Thomas has been trying to get my attention.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I move that we separate 18 and 19 from the MLGW fiscal consent agenda.
A second, please.
Seconded by Smiley.
Oh.
And Chairwoman Robinson, 18 and 19 are requesting same night minutes as I separate those.
No, they removed the MLGW
Thank
request.
you. They've been removed.
Yes.
Thank you for the update.
Okay. Do I have any members that would oppose us moving those, make those items separate? So by acclamation, we're going to move forward with our MLGW consent agenda items 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the MLGW fiscal consent agenda items 13 through 17 for approval.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Councilman Smiley, did you have a question before we voted on these items?
Oh, no, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes, ma'am.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Abstain.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye, that motion passes. Thank you. Item number 18, can I get a motion to discuss this?
Moved by Smiley.
Second.
Thank you. And who was it seconded by?
Morgan.
Thank you. Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I move to separate these from the question because I think we all received some of the same emails about questions on the change in prescription providers. As some of our constituents have wanted MLGW a chance to reconsider due to the impact that it would make on local employees. Especially with 19, as it says, prescription benefits management to CVS, moving it away from a local provider that employs Memphis. So that's why I asked for the question to be separated. And I'm assuming that's why MLGW asked earlier to remove the request for same night minutes.
Okay, thank you. Is Mr. Young on the call?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Thank you for that question. And we actually, again, don't need same night minutes for that, but to clarify, and I also think we have on the call, Aon, who has been our consultant as we've evaluated this, as well as Dana Jeans, who has the responsibility for this as well within MLGW. And so what I'd like to do is actually just give a brief response to that, and I'll ask Dana and maybe the representatives from Aon to clarify any questions that there may be on that. Regarding the item 18, that's an extension of our existing prescription benefit plan for 3 months to allow us to transition. We back earlier this year put bids out because our contract with Express Scripts was ending this month at December 31st. And so earlier this year, we sent out an RFP and to try to be prepared for the transition. So in short, the CVS response was deemed among those who responded to be the lowest price. We actually wanted to sync up our prescription and medical. We asked to do that. And Dana, if you're on, let's see, Dana, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, can you pick it up and help them understand the impact from a local? I hear your question, Councilwoman, regarding the local piece. And I think you're speaking about that. And I want you to address that, Dana, as well as the other issue on 19.
Sure. And these two resolutions really go hand in hand. One, the one we're talking about now, 18, is an extension which would allow us to get in place the new contract with CVS pharmacy provider. And because of various issues, we ordinarily would have this in place at the beginning of the year. But because of various delays, we're at this point, therefore, we need this 3-month extension. As President Young mentioned, we did bid this over the course of 2020. We evaluated bids with the assistance of our consultant, Aon, who are also members on the call here. And we had 6 vendors that made a proposal for a prescription benefit contract. After an evaluation that takes into account many factors, including cost, disruption to members, et cetera, we recognized that the CVS had the highest score in our evaluation, and we made that recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. The concerns I believe you're referring to came from the IBEW, and we've had some conversations with them today to clarify some of the concerns. The local impact was one of the concerns. They also mentioned things, for example, the name CVS. Sometimes folks interpret that they can only go to a CVS pharmacy. We clarified that is not the case, that the network that the CVS Caremark offers is very extensive. It includes Walgreens, Walmart, Sam's, Costco, all the typical pharmacies. So there's over 60,000 pharmacies that are accessible there. As far as other concerns that may have been expressed, some drug coverage, drug access, we believe all that will be taken into account as we make the transition. As far as the local, Express Scripts does own a Credo, which is based in the area. But when you look at all the factors, if you look at the economics of this proposal, it is substantial savings relative to the current arrangement that we have.
In 2021, we expect that this would save about $5.2 million off of to put it in perspective, our pharmacy spend is about 24 to 25 million. In this proposed contract, which is item 19, is a 3-year contract with CVS. If you look at the entire 3-year period, we are anticipating savings of over $20 million, which is close to 25% savings. And those savings are extremely substantial compared to where we are. We felt like in consultation with our consultant, and the board agreed with this, that this was the prudent choice. It will not be very disruptive to our employees and retirees in terms of access to prescription drugs. There's mail order capability, there's local pharmacy, and there's the substantial savings that we will incur by going with CVS. So that is our recommendation. Significant savings and relatively minimal impact to our employees and retirees.
And Dana, this is Eric Schrager with Aon, who is the consultant. So just a little background. I am the benefits practice leader for Aon in the Tennessee market. Been with Aon for almost 7 years. Have been working with MLGW over that 7-year period. Prior to this group, I worked with Charles Perry on bids, as you did those too. So I've gone through this process with you all before. Previous processes, we did stay with Express Scripts. During this RFP, CVS had a very attractive offer. And I think Dana just talked through some numbers there. And we do see CVS as a valid player in the market, similar to Express Scripts. The other large pharmacy benefit manager out there is Optum. They were included in this process as well. CVS was quite aggressive. Their approach is very similar to Express Scripts. Like Dana said, it's the same pharmacies. Essentially, there's almost no pharmacy disruption when you're switching from a CVS to Express Scripts or to Optum. So there'll be almost no disruption there. The only area we do find some disruption is on the formulary, which is the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So some of the brand drugs, some of your population may have to switch a brand drug to another brand drug that has the same efficacy. That disruption is less than 5% of the drugs that are currently provided. And what CVS will do to limit that disruption is they'll actually allow your member to have that drug for the first 90 days that they come aboard. And they will work with that member to talk to their doctor about switching to another drug or keeping the drug that they currently are on. So the CVS and Express Scripts do this all the time as they switch back and forth between each other. So I do just want to kind of point that out. Yes, some people may need to change their drug, but it's going to be to another drug that has the same efficacy as the one that they're on. Beyond that, the savings are very significant. CVS has been very aggressive, and that's why we've made we scored all of these different vendors, and CVS came out in front because of that. We do have clients with Express Scripts and with CVS, and we have had to move back and forth with very minimal issues for your population.
Okay, thank you for that presentation. So for self-disclosure, I have MLGW retiree insurance. So every word you say, I'm holding you accountable. Councilman Smiley. You had a question? You okay? Councilman Jones.
Thank you. The first question that I have is, well, first statement that I want to make. when I say we, as a council member, we've been down a similar road to this. May have been my first year on the council. We were presented with a change of healthcare providers, and it was promised a 20% decrease in the dollar amount of claims. And I questioned that. I've had an insurance license for close to 27 years. And in my previous public service on the school board, I never have seen a decrease in healthcare expenditures. So the question that I have here is, what assurances do we have of these savings? And if they aren't realized, what is the recourse that we have? And I know that I understand the whole healthcare, but like I said, we were presented with this scenario when I first got on the council, when we switched healthcare providers, and those savings were not realized.
So this is Eric Aon again. I can jump in.
I cannot, wait just a minute. Let's have some order. Who wants to speak? President Young.
No, let's have the Aon consultant speak on this.
Okay, and his name is?
Eric
What is
Schrager.
his name? Okay, Eric, go ahead.
Yeah. So I can help with that. Within these pharmacy contracts, there are typically 3 areas for savings, right? So one area is discount. So how much is taken off the drug when you go to the pharmacy? What does that pharmacy benefit manager, how much do they get in savings based off the discount at the point of sale at the pharmacy? And so that's one area we measure. Another area we measure is the administration cost. So typically when they go to a pharmacy, how much does it cost to dispense that drug? The administration is a pretty small amount. Discounts are large. And then there's another area called rebates. So this is if a certain amount of your population utilizes a certain brand drug, it only applies to brands, doesn't typically apply to generics. How much do you save off of that brand drug? So when we write the contract with CVS, so when MLGW gets a contract from CVS, we have already negotiated those terms as part of the RFP, and we will make sure that the terms written in the contract meet what is written in their RFP. And what you can do is audit the contract either on a yearly basis or on a 3-year basis. You typically see 3-year basis audits to verify that they met the terms within that contract, so that they met the discounts that they guaranteed, that they met the rebates they guaranteed, and that they met the administrative fees that they guaranteed. If they don't meet those, then they will be sending you a check back for the difference. So that is the way that you can guarantee the savings.
Okay, so yes, that answers the question, but you indicated that can either be done on a yearly basis or on a 3-year basis. What does the contract currently reflect now? What's being presented to us? Does it reflect 1 year or 3 years?
It's a 3-year contract.
Well, no, I know it's a 3-year contract, but you talked about the review can either take place on a 1 year. And did I hear you incorrectly when you said that the review can take place either on a 1 year or 3-year basis?
Yeah, so you could do them yearly, or you could do them every 3 years. It just costs money to do the audit. So you would, it's up to them.
So what's currently before us now, what type of review is before us now?
So you haven't chosen a review yet, but that is something you can choose to do either on a yearly basis or on a 3-year basis. It's up to MLG.
Okay, so that has not been determined by MLG&W to this point.
No, that's right.
Okay, so Mr. Young, based upon my previous experience on being on this council, and in my previous life, I worked in employee benefits for Aetna health plans. So this is still my wheelhouse somewhat. But based upon my previous experience, I would ask that we ask for a yearly review of what our costs are and compare those to what's been represented in this in this proposal?
Absolutely, sure. But that's understandable. And I think, Dana, when we get to that point, we can, now this again, just to be clear, this would begin in April. So it's an April 1st. We might could do one at the end of the year in 21, and then annually after that. So, something like that. Is that feasible, Dana?
Yes, sir. We can do that.
Okay. So let's see.
Yeah, thank you for that. The next question that I have, how close was the scoring between CVS and Express Scripts? And was there any consideration from the scoring standpoint for what will be a local presence, or what is a local presence?
Dana, you want me? Or Eric or Dana?
Yeah, so the scoring, and Eric, you can weigh in as well, but the scoring on a 100-point scale, which again takes into account the various items that Eric mentioned, cost, benefit design, formulary, administration, mail and specialty drugs, and clinical programs. CVS scored 89.3 out of 100 points. Express Scripts scored 86.8. And again, so CVS had the highest point score for all of the measures, and also again a differential in cost compared to the Express Script proposal.
Was there any consideration for local presence in the proposal? I know it's uncommon for what would be a health provider, but I think that whenever, I would hope that this would be some guidance to us. Whenever we have an opportunity to keep dollars and spend dollars in our local community, especially when we're talking about nearly a $60 million contract over the next 3 years, that's something that I don't think we should take lightly, all other things being considered equal.
Yes, and in our procurement policy at MLGW, we do have provisions for local business preference and presence. By our MLGW procurement policy, a 5% differential in terms of cost can be put in play for local bidding presence. However, that is limited to $100,000. So we had a significantly higher difference in these proposals, significantly more than $100,000 difference.
Well, for all three, for the drug component, for the administrative component, from the rebate component, as was explained, there were multiple factors that came up in the total bid.
Yes, and that is in terms of the total contract.
Okay. But for, you say the total contract, but there were individual components that made up that total bid. And so when we talk about, the drug cost of it, not talking about the rebate portion of it, but I'm talking about the hard cost being the administrative part and being the cost of the drugs. We still talk about that 5% differential in the pricing thing.
Correct. So on the, for example, on the 3-year cost, and that's including all the components that Eric mentioned, CVS was about 59.5 million. Well, it's the number that's in the resolution, compared to about almost 71 million for Express Scripts for the 3-year period. So there's a substantial difference in cost between the two proposals, which is the primary reason we selected CVS along with all of the other components that yielded the highest score.
Okay. Well, I would just hope, though, that if we when we conduct a review and we conduct an audit, I would hope that if these savings aren't realized, that we exercise, well, is there language that would allow us to cancel this contract if after that 1 year period of time, we're not satisfied with the results?
Yes, we should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Eric just jumping in. We certainly can request a guarantee that if they don't meet the terms of the contract, that you guys have the right to move. We didn't have that offered as part of the RFP process, so it's something we have to follow up on.
Okay.
Just want to make that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones, and that should be a part of every contract that leaves anybody's business. Councilman Jones and I have gone through this many times. That should be a part of all of our legal contracts. I have several members in queue. Councilman Warren, then Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Do we have anybody on the line from IBEW that could speak to their concerns? Because it seems like they're the people who were worried about this. I'd like to hear what they're concerned about if they're on the line.
That would be inappropriate. That would be inappropriate this evening.
Oh, it would be?
Yes, that would be inappropriate.
Okay, thanks, Madam Chair. Well, I think the other thing I was going to ask or just talk about was a lot of times people are worried because they're used to getting one brand of insulin. And the major cost shift that you get when you're doing these contracts is you can get a discount from your insulin provider. And insulin's been very highly priced lately. So what will end up happening is people who are diabetic on insulin may have to switch the brand of insulin they're using for a like product. And I can tell you that those like products will be similar and work just as well. And that most likely is where a significant amount of the savings that Councilman Jones was alluding to will be coming from as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Warren. Councilwoman Johnson.
I withdrew. Thank you, Chair.
Councilman Smiley. Councilman Smiley. I can't hear you. Well, we're going to move on to Councilwoman Logan. You're there? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just got the delivery. I'm sorry about that. I have a couple questions. I guess it's for Mr. Dana James.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, did you receive any information from Express Scripts about matching the the price of CVS in the recent days?
So let me recount kind of how this played out.
Okay.
I mentioned at the beginning of my comments that the process to get to the point of award took a little longer than normal. We normally would put this in the first of the year. And so our initial action with the board was to do a 1-year extension with Express Scripts. So the board asked us to work with Express Scripts to see if they could come down from their current level of cost for a 1-year extension. So we had a few rounds back and forth with Express Scripts. And as of the date of the board action, Express Scripts had cut about $2.3 million off of their original proposal for the 1-year extension. That was still short of the savings for 1 year from CVS, which is about $5.3 million. So the 1-year extension was still going to not save as much money as moving ahead to CVS. The day after the board action, after the board approved proceeding with CVS, we received a further proposal from Express Scripts, which was, after the fact on our procurement process, which essentially said they could cut their cost $5 million. And then we had Aon evaluate that proposal to see if that was an accurate representation in Aon's view of the proposed savings from that. And I think, and Eric can weigh in here, but I think their conclusion was it was really closer to 3 million, not 5 million. But really the key element of that was their final offer came after the board had already acted and awarded this to CVS.
Okay, thank you for that. So when you all were in the process, Express Scripts had not submitted the newly proposed savings. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and then after the board convened, they said, "Hold up, we're about to lose this contract. We want to attempt to match what CVS has put forward."
And that occurred after the board's action. That occurred on the next day.
Okay, and then my next question, okay, because I'm struggling with giving money to a large business, especially when we have a local business that seems to be at this point able to match those proposals. I have another question. I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this. Does Aon, or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, does Aon have an affiliation or a coalition that includes CVS?
So this is Eric jumping in. We do have a coalition, what's called a pharmacy coalition, and CVS, Express Scripts, and Optum are all on that coalition.
So Express Scripts and CVS is a part of that coalition?
That's right.
Okay.
And Optum is the too.
Okay, so I'm gonna be brief and be very, candid with my comments today. So the truth of the matter is, the proposal is to, go to CVS, because CVS follow all the appropriate steps, having their bid or whatever the correct language is during a set time, and at that point in time, the Express Scripts, the locally owned company, presented their bid sometime thereafter. I understand rules and procedures and, following the guidelines that are set in place. However, but we're talking about moving a large sum of money outside of our local economy. And I'm just having a hard time with that, especially if the company, the local company hasn't been able to put forth a proposal that say, hey, we can match this. So, I will be voting no on this, and hopefully the board, the MLGW board, takes a look at it and hope come back with us and say, hey, they were able to meet the proposed savings, and this council prefers doing business in the city or in the county, and something along those lines. So I'll be voting no on this, in the interest of supporting our local businesses. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Dana Jeans. May I respond?
Yes.
Just for the record, and Eric, you can back me up on this, but the local business we're really speaking about is Accredo, which is owned by Express Scripts. So Accredo is the local presence. It's not the complete Express Scripts operation. And Accredo deals with the specialty drugs. Am I correct on that, Eric?
That's right. Yeah. Express Scripts is headquartered in St. Louis, and they have a specialty pharmacy group that's there in the Memphis area, and you're right, called Accredo.
Does that,
I'm sorry, Chairwoman, I'm not trying to speak over you.
okay, does that conclude your questions?
Well, that does conclude my question. I just want to, make a clarification because there was a mention of Credo's, but Credo's Memphis campus employs 1,400 employees, and 80% of those employees are minority. So we'll be taking money out of the pockets of many people who live in this community.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Could you all kind of just define local? How do you define local? Across the board.
Dana, are you on? Can you? I
Yes.
think it's Shelby County. Is it Shelby?
Right. So it's a local presence has to have their business in Shelby County.
Okay. That's the extent of.
Let me ask you a question so we can get some clear clarification. Mr. Jeans, do you mean they must have their headquarters in Memphis or they must have a physical business location in Memphis? What is that's the question.
So our definition by our procurement policy on a local business is Shelby County business license and the principal physical business address located within the city limits of Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, thank you. Would you please continue, Councilwoman Logan?
Thank you, Chairwoman. So you mentioned that Express Scripts is located in St. Louis, but they have a satellite office here.
That's right. Yep. They have it's what's called a specialty pharmacy group. Essentially, Express Scripts has these, they're in different parts of the country, but they usually handle like one specific specialty issue, like hemophilia or something like that. And so what they do is members call in usually to this group and they help to manage their drug utilization. So it's kind of we call it a specialty pharmacy group that handles usually one, or it could be multiple different types of specialty issues. And the issues that people go through on specialty drugs, a lot of times are side effects, and they want to keep people on those specialty drugs, communicate to them, here's what the side effects are, so it helps them to continue on that drug and not drop it and have to go back through the process. So it's essentially a group that helps members that have specialty issues, if that helps.
Okay, I'm more so interested in the definition and how you determine if a business is local and meet the criteria for your for that designation as being a local business. And so you're saying that the principal physical business address must be in Shelby County, and they must have a Shelby County license, and that is the sum total of the criteria that deems a business as local.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you. I have one additional person in the queue, and that's Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, a lot of good questions, a lot of good commentary. I just want to boil it down to back where we are. Councilman Easter Thomas raised some concerns that were raised to her about some constituents. So we separated the question to get down to the fact that we have a medical, and JT, this is kind of directed to you, and we'll kind of keep it brief because we spent a lot of time on this. We have a medical insurance contract that is going to be coming up in a year and some change, right? And we have a pharmaceutical contract that is at a different time period than our medical contract. And so we began this process to marry the two up so that when we go out and bid this, we're on the same page, right?
Right.
All right. So that's what started the ball here. So MLGW went through, and their senior staff through their bid procurement process went through the responsible steps of putting it out for bid and chose what made the most business sense for that entity, which was the best bid that made the most financial fiscal sense for them. And they ended up selecting the CVS group through their consultant in an open and fair process. And then later had basically a mea culpa, we think we can match it, which I think, if I'm correct here, if we were to shift gears and go back, would violate your procurement process, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have an up or down vote on what's been approved by the Board of Commissioners from MLGW on these two items. Now, I know one of them is incredibly necessary because there's a 3-month gap and we don't have time to get back before January 1. And that is critically important that we address that tonight. And I seriously think we need to vote for that so there's not a gap in coverage on their pharmaceuticals. But I just want to remind my colleagues that they went through an open, fair procurement process and are making a decision that is in the financially best sense for MLGW, as well as still delivers, from what I read and President Young's response, still gives the appropriate coverage to their employees. And to interfere with that, I think is dangerous ground unless there is some sort of legal, federally basis. Councilman Smiley, I see 1,400 jobs. It's a wholly owned subsidiary by a major pharmaceutical company that's wholly owned by Cigna. And so just because it's a local job, they didn't go through the bid process appropriately. You can't direct business back to them without violating or without opening ourselves up to litigation. And as a matter of fact, without getting very specific, the county commission and the county government has found themselves in this position right now. And we need to be very careful that we don't end up getting sued because we're directing business when it went through an open, fair process. I certainly understand the concern, but we need to be very cautious here and we need to kind of move along. And I've drug longer than I wanted to, but I think we have to keep the main thing. We have a vote that's been approved by the Board of Commissioners through a fair and open process with good reason and logic of why they began the process. And I think Councilman Jones brought up some very good points about best practices going forward, but we need to move the business. I see Councilwoman Johnson in the queue, and Madam Chair, I'll yield to her, but after that, I'd like to call for the question.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Johnson.
Thank you so much, Chair, for the opportunity. JT, my question should be directed to him. Was your board made aware of the economic impact that their choice may affect 1,400 individuals in the city?
Well, when this was first done, I wasn't here. So when we went to Express Scripts, I know that there was a local preference issue that Dana could probably speak to. And if you remember, when we went through this process this year, in the bid process, there was a local preference portion of the actual evaluation. So that was a consideration in the selection. So I don't want anyone to think that we did not give any credit to the local presence piece of this. So I think the one thing to keep in mind, we're extremely sensitive to that, and that's why our policy speaks to it. But the one thing to keep in mind is the differential I think you may have heard Dana speak to between the $59 million, $59.5 million or so for the 3-year contract with CVS versus for an equivalent roughly $71 million. And at the time we had to evaluate this, it's really hard to overcome a $12 million differential with just the local preference piece. So I think it was weighed, it was evaluated. We had this conversation this morning. We had a great conversation with IBW leadership and talked about a number of things, including this. And they're helping us with making sure we get this communicated. I guess the point I'd make is that was definitely a consideration. As to specifically mentioning to the board on this particular situation that there was a local, I think they were aware because of the previous contract. And Dana, you may know better than I do on that.
Well, and again, per our procurement policy, the local bidding preference or presence is limited to $100,000. So we're talking several $1 million in difference here. So we followed our procurement process as approved by our Board of Commissioners.
Okay, does that answer your question?
It does,
Councilwoman Johnson?
it does, but it does concern me that if we're placing bids and we're not looking at our local economy, trying to make sure our citizens have jobs, I think something needs to be changed in some people's policies because, you know, I'm only curious in regards to how much money are these employees going to lose? Who won't be able to pay utility bills? And you thinking you're saving $5 million, you're going to lose it because they couldn't even pay their utility bills because they don't have jobs. You know, I just think a greater weight should have been given to local companies than what they have given them. $100,000, we're looking at a $1 million project. I think that's extremely low. Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you. I don't see anyone else. Okay, one person in the queue, and then we'll move to closing out this item. Vice Chairman Covet.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a quick question. Just making sure this is an up or down vote. We cannot change MLG&W's recommendation. That goes against the ordinance and all that. Is that a correct point? This is basically an up or down. We can't amend it.
That's correct.
I apologize, colleagues. I just want to make absolutely sure.
Okay. We're going to call for the question. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll on item number 18?
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Covet?
Yes.
Speaker Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
No.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan? Morgan?
Yes.
Wiley?
No.
Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
May I revisit the vote of Councilmember Logan?
Yeah, it was I. What did I?
Thank you. Councilmember Swearingen?
Aye.
Thank you. Robinson?
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Item number 19.
Item number 19 is a resolution awarding contract number 12162, Prescription Benefits Management, to CVS in the funded amount of $59,587,000.
Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for approval MLGW fiscal consent item number 19.
Second, Colbert.
Thank you. Do I have any members in the queue? I see one person's hand up, Councilman Warren.
Yes, ma'am. I think that what we haven't gotten and that I think we need to see before we vote on this is we can see that there's a $10 million savings in the pharmaceuticals, but we don't know what the cost is of 1,400 jobs. And I think we need to compare those two numbers, or there should be that brought to their board and our board to see if we're actually saving money. So, if this was just a business and all it had to do was run at a profit and it wasn't a public entity that had the public good involved, then it may be a different thing. So I think I would like them to go back and at least look at that, bring us those numbers. And, if, the economic damage is not nearly as great and we have ways that we can possibly salvage that, let's bring that back with our plan on what we're going to do as we take a hit on our economy. Otherwise, we'll vote for the change in plan. So I'm going to vote against this in hopes that we can see that information back about what that $1,400 job loss will do to our community now in the middle of the pandemic. Thank you.
President Young, are you prepared with an answer to that?
Well, I don't know that I have an answer. I actually have another question, and that is maybe directed to Aon, because I was totally unaware that this would eliminate 1,400 jobs locally. So that's news to me. And Eric, is that a part of this?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So no one's going to lose their job if MLGW moves their contract. So just to go back to what the purpose of that location is the 1,400 people don't just service MLGW, they service all of Express Scripts clients throughout the U.S. And so what they put there locally is what we call a specialty pharmacy, right? So they deal with very specific issues. MLGW probably in their population may have one or two people that have that issue. And so, like hemophilia is an example of that. So they're not going to lay off 1,400 people if MLGW leaves. They wouldn't be able to service all their other clients throughout the U.S. So we don't see that as happening either in the short term or long term. We don't anticipate.
It changes my thought process on it. I appreciate that answer.
Yeah, no problem. Just anything we could do to help. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Did you have any closing remarks, Mr. Young?
No, just to thank you all for the consideration. We'd like to move forward because one of the things that's really crucial as we go through this transition is that we have enough time to get our employees, get the communication to our employees. We spoke to the union leadership about that this morning, and we've got to make sure we have this 3-month period to do that. And this would be very helpful as we move forward. And so I just appreciate the opportunity to answer questions and to have the discussion. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council members, let's prepare to vote. Madam Comptroller, call the roll.
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
No.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
No.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan?
Abstain.
Morgan?
Yes.
Smiley?
No, ma'am.
Warringen?
Abstain.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Abstain. That motion passes. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call our add-ons?
I will begin with item number 36, a resolution requesting the state of Tennessee to adopt a state historic tax credit program. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Carlisle, and there's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Canali.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Thank you. I don't see any members in the queue. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert? Easter Thomas?
Hold on.
Yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan?
Aye.
Morgan?
Abstain.
Smiley?
Did he
Was that
say
an
aye?
Thank you. Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you.
Please reflect Councilman Colbert as a yes on that one, if that's okay.
Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman Colvett. I will note that you voted yes on item number 36.
Madam Comptroller, please call item 37.
A resolution regarding CARES distribution. This resolution is sponsored by the administration. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize, got sidetracked there for a minute.
Item number 37.
Okay, item number 37. Madam Chair, I'm going to ask that Mr. Canale takes over this because there's something that I want to present on the floor, please.
Okay. Councilman Canale?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Do we have a motion in a second?
No, we don't. Need you to put it on the floor.
I'll move it.
Second.
Warren.
Okay.
All right, Councilman Jones.
Thank you. Colleagues, you just should have received an email for this item, and this was heard before committee today, and it was approved in committee, but what should have just been emailed to you are some amendments to this. So based upon what the administration presented to us earlier today, we will have about $10.7 million in excess funds available, and they talked about the use of that. So what you have before you is an amendment to that, where during the course of hearing and making the appropriations for the CARES Act, I have proposed that the council, out of the $10.7 million, that we use about $700,000 for some of the organizations that received grants from the council when these distributions were first made. And so you'll have the documentation of this as well, but I'll run them down for you. So what it will in essence do, it will increase the allocation that we made to the Boys and Girls Club by $75,000, increased by $50,000, the allocation that we made to the Memphis Film and Tape, increased by $50,000. Kindred Place, increased by $50,000. Meritan, increased by $150,000. Lemoyne College, and increased by $75,000. The Memphis Zoo, $75,000. The Botanic Gardens, $75,000. The Brooks Museum, $75,000. AutoZone, $75,000. The Pink Palace Museum, for a total amendments of $750,000 out of the it was originally $10,759,580. And I so move.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. We need a second for that.
Second, Carlisle.
Councilwoman Johnson is in the queue first, and Councilman Carlisle.
This is not a committee meeting. This is my meeting, all right?
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Getting tired here, trying to move things
All right.
along.
So who was in the queue? Because I don't see anybody but Carlisle.
Councilwoman Johnson, Madam Chair.
Okay, let me go on down. Okay, I see Johnson, Carlisle, and Warren. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to know, earlier today, we were told that additional funds could not be allocated to organizations due to the time frame and the process that it would take in order to get all of this funding to the various organizations. So is this gonna be possible?
Those were new organizations. That was a question about a new organization. These organizations, because they've received funds, they already have a contract in place. So it would just be a matter of amending the previous contracts to include these increased amounts.
Okay. See, the case that I want to amend your resolution to include Collins Chapel for an additional $100,000.
Maker of the motion, do you accept that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Does that conclude your question, Councilwoman Johnson?
That does, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones, for accepting that friendly amendment. Councilman Carlisle?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilman Jones, it's late in the evening. I hope that you just wrap this up and didn't just drop it on us because I'm tired, my man. But I appreciate you taking a look. I do just to clarify, because again, I support every organization on here. I just want to ask the question to Chief Ford or Chief McGowan that it is possible, because I think it probably is as well, Councilman Jones. But just to make sure that we can wire these funds out, I don't know why there would be an issue, but probably prudent just to ask the question for the record.
Okay, Shirley, are you available?
Yes, ma'am. I'm right here. Good afternoon, council members. Shirley Ford, Chief Financial Officer for the City of Memphis. As I said this morning, there are only a few days left for this money to be executed. Any money given to any organization at this late date, they would have to provide program outcomes that occur before the 30th of December. So if you want to send additional money to any of these organizations, they will have to provide reporting and process outcomes that confirm that they have spent and executed this money by December 30th, or it is subject to return to the federal government.
So let me ask you this. It's appropriate, and I think I'm going to say this the right way. It's appropriate for this body to, I'll say, earmark it. And if they are unable to do that, we already have a bucket for it to go back into anyway. So, I mean, mechanically, we could just, if I had to, we could add a tripwire language that basically automatically sends it back to personnel if they're unable to do that, really, honestly. I mean, I hear you, Chief Ford. There are a couple groups on here that may not be able to have the programmatic, but I'll just take something off the cuff like the zoo. I have no doubt they'll probably be able to turn around a plan for it. Maybe I'm wrong. So maybe what we do here, and Martavius, step in with me at any point, but maybe what we do here is we write the language to a point that you have the intent of the body, and if the entities can't accept the money, then we automatically stick it into the personnel line.
Councilman Jones, do you accept that as a part of your change?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you,
All
Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you.
I
think so.
Okay. Be sure. Let's be sure. Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to recommend that we add the hub as a recipient for $100,000, providing that they can document that this is code expenses that they've already had to spend money on from other sources.
Second.
Okay. Councilman Jones.
Well, was the hub part of the original allocation that we approved when we approved the original CARES Act?
Brooke, can you pull that sheet back up that'll tell us?
Madam Chair, may I respond? I think I can answer that while she's looking. We appropriated money through HCD that went towards that program, I believe. Councilman Jones, I believe they're set up to do that.
Okay. What I was working on, colleague, I was working on what was originally presented to us during the CARES Act. And, And as you see, the modified sheet is what we approved. Now,
We don't see it yet, Mr. Jones.
okay.
Councilman Jones. Yeah, I was going from.
Excuse me. Brooke, do you have that sheet? Can you show it to us, please, that spreadsheet?
Yes, it's not on there, so I was saying that the hub wasn't a designated recipient on that list.
Okay, now Councilman Warren.
Well, let me just reiterate. Colleagues, I base these increases upon organizations that we already made disbursements to through the CARES Act. So from a hub standpoint, we still would be talking about what would be a new contract. And I think that was what Ms. Ford was saying earlier. So I would object to a portion of it just based upon they were not part of the original allocations that the council made.
Madam Chair,
yes.
I remember giving part of my CARES Act to the hub. So I assume that the council grants for CARES Act means that those organizations have that setting going. So is that not listed here?
They came out of general funds. The grant program came out of general funds this year. It wasn't CARES Act.
That's my confusion. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, so are you withdrawing that, Councilman Warren?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think we can adequately do it based on what she says at this point.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Morgan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Still trying to wrap my head around a little bit of the process that's going to be required of these organizations in the next 15 days. So they have to have programming. They have to spend the money on a COVID-related, I guess, deficit of some extent or unexpected loss due to COVID. And they've got to do it in the next, it's not even going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be less than that before the money gets transferred and all this and that. And you got Christmas as well. Has anybody talked to any of these organizations and they're sitting there saying, send us this money right now because we can spend it right now on this and this is a qualified expense?
I think if we look at it based upon some of the financial losses that these organizations have incurred as a result of COVID, I think that all of them programmatically can fill some needs financially based upon these amounts that we've allocated to each one. No, but I haven't had a conversation with any of them because this information was just presented to us today.
Chief Ford, we talk about that fallback mechanism that if we approach these organizations and said, I'm just going to pull one out, the Memphis Film and Television Commission, if they don't have anything that they can spend the $50,000 on in the next week or two, that it falls back to the personnel line. How does that work? And what is our timeline to encumber these funds through the personnel line? I mean, is that something that we have to do? I said that we're doing this week, and that the week of Christmas it wouldn't work, and so it doesn't. I don't want to lose the money. I know this is out of good intention, but I want to make sure we're organized and doing the right thing here.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. With any of these organizations with additional money, that would require an amendment to an existing contract. They would have to be able to ensure, just like with the original program that was sent out to them, that they have to comply with all of the guidelines. They have to report to the same reporting guidelines, and they would have to follow the same procedures that they did for the monies from the original allocation. And even to the point of the workforce development, even trying to help them 2 months ago or a month ago, they're like going, there's no way we can follow this program and follow the federal guidelines by the Office of Inspector General to be able to give you a program result report back, because we do have to submit those reports, as do the subrecipients. So, you know, it's not just as easy of saying, here, we're going to give you a little more money. We do have to amend the contracts. There has to be an understanding between the parties that this has to be applied to the same COVID response. It has to be directly related to the impact and subject to audit of that by the OIG to ensure that the funds were being spent in the manner that they were intended to be spent for relief to the federal, to the local governments and economic relief as we deemed appropriate.
So that's what I see as the hard part. It's not that we can't get the money to them, it's they can't have it in their bank account. They've got to get it out, and they've got to get it out in a COVID expense that's documented and was caused by the pandemic this year. It can't be just normal course of business where they pay, you know, maybe they're 10 employees like on payroll that they always pay every 2 weeks. So I don't know. I think unless there's some further information about this, I think at the time I'm a no on this amendment. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
One of the things, colleagues, that I will remind everybody of, each of these organizations received a reduced amount from what their original requests were. So I would imagine that when they came up with their original ask, they had programming in mind, knowing what the rules were for receiving these funds. That's all I want. That's the only statement I wanted to make, Madam Chair.
Okay. Frank, I'm still having some network problems. Please take over.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Council Lady Easter Thomas is in the queue. You're retracting, as is Council Lady Logan. So I'm to Councilman Carlisle. You're recognized.
Thank you. Look, here's the deal. From where I'm sitting, I understand that there's a significant amount of work that may go in the next week or so for Chief Ford's office, and for that I'm apologetic. But you know, these are all good organizations that, to Councilman Jones's point, you know, to Councilman Jones's point, they were all shortfalls from where we originally wanted to give them to them. Several of them are city assets. I would look like a complete hypocrite if I didn't try and support them after making such a stink this summer. If they can't do it, the mechanism is that it goes back into the personnel. So we have, I guess this is my nice way of saying, let's give them a chance. You know, let's at least give them the effort. The council's put their will forward, and if it doesn't work out, you know, we've got a mechanism for that. So let's see what happens. I'm typically not one of those guys. Everybody's got to take their own opinion. Councilman Jones, thanks for bringing it forward. I love all these organizations and obviously the city assets. And so if it's okay with my colleagues, again, I'd like to move the previous question on the CARES Act funding as amended by Councilman Jones.
A motion on the floor to amend. I see nobody else in the queue. Is there any objection calling the question? Seeing none, I assume you're ready to vote on this amendment. This amendment to item 37. Madam Comptroller, call the roll.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
No.
Smiley,
Yes, ma'am.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 38.
A resolution for continued tested and COVID-19 vaccine education, distribution, and administration, December 2020. This resolution is sponsored by the administration. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Budget Committee met to approve this item and also move.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. I don't see any council members in the queue. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones, Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes, ma'am.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye, and Councilman Jones gave a thumbs up on his video.
thank you, Councilmember Warren. Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Item number 39.
Item number 39 is a resolution requesting the inclusion of MWBE reporting on City Council item routing sheets. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Easter Thomas. That's for same night minutes.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Jones. Councilman Canali, can you carry this for Councilman Jones?
Yeah,
He's there.
sorry,
Councilman Jones.
you got a repairman here. This item came before committee and was approved, and I recommend, and I so move.
Thank you. Second.
Johnson, second.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any members in the queue. Madam Comptroller, please call the roll on item number 39.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Aye.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye. That motion
Chair-
passes.
Chairwoman Robinson, I would like to revisit item number 37. We took a vote on the amendments, but I did not go back to the main motion. So I would need to record a vote on item number 37. The amendment would be the special item number 1 for the record.
Okay, special item number 1.
Point of
Now we're
order.
on the main motion.
Okay.
I moved the main motion as
It would be
amended.
37.
He moved it as,
As amended.
that's
So
correct.
One moment, please. We'll let the administrator address you.
We didn't take a vote on his amendment. There was a motion on the floor. There wasn't.
The amendments were done without objection, and I moved it
Oh,
as
I
amended.
didn't hear the without objection. That's what we didn't hear. As long as
No,
it
we
was without
voted
objection.
on, we voted on the amendment.
You were the only objection, Councilman Morgan. You need 2 objections in order to force a vote on the amendment.
That's not true. That's 2 objections to push something off the agenda from the executive. And
Is,
look, I'm not trying to be
Alan
difficult,
Wade-
but I think
Is
we just,
Alan Wade available so that he can answer the question, please?
I'm voting yes on the whole item.
Chairwoman, would you like us to just move forward with the 37 vote as amended?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we just called item 39. That motion passed. Madam Comptroller, we're on item number 40.
Item number 40 is a resolution distributing the profits generated from the development of parking and other mobility projects by the Downtown Mobility Authority among all city council districts and request the administration to determine the feasibility. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Logan. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Ford.
All right, committee met, send it downstairs for vote. Item number 40, right?
Yes.
Okay, this was brought by Councilwoman Logan. Is there anyone want to speak? Because I need to make some statements afterwards. Do we have anybody in the queue?
I don't see anyone in the queue.
Okay, I need to do a little speaking on this particular item. Councilwoman
Yes, sir.
Logan, thank you for bringing it.
But first, before you do that, who seconded this item?
I second it.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Ford.
I appreciate you bringing this item to us. I did a little research, everything else, because I would like to support it, but I don't think this is the right time. The city council had a similar issue that came up about the capping of the hotel and motel taxes, splitting up the revenues, the projects in the district, what we're trying to do. The council had to vote it down because they would have voted. Actually, the bond for the FedEx farm would not have been issued. Also, there would not have been any revenues for the new convention center that we have right now. Give you a typical example, Jackson, Mississippi would have had their convention center way before us. That's why it is important to keep revenues in their dedicated place, because you never know when it is needed for us to pay for other obligations. Now, I'll give you another good typical example. During the executive session, our attorney Wade brought up an issue about the water and the bonds 3 years ago. That's one issue. That's why it's very important for us to keep everything in place. And I ask colleagues to vote no right now for this particular item. Thank you very much.
I'm in the
Thank
queue.
Okay, Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Councilman Ford, I heard you. However, I'm not sure if you read the resolution. There was in the previous meeting, there was no designation for these funds when it was presented. The only thing that was presented was for the proceeds to be used to build these projects. My request was regarding the profit, which at that time, no one had any designation for the profit. So it wasn't leave them where they were. This request that we put in was to have the profit not only benefit downtown, but benefit the outlying districts as well. So it can be a win-win for everyone. There's not too many times that you're going to find an opportunity for us to have residual funding that can benefit every part of the district, downtown as well as in the district. And so we need to improve mobility, transportation, walkability, sidewalks, street common, and capital improvement in the district as well as downtown. And so this was an opportunity to accomplish that, as well as have funding for the districts who are suffering as well. So by you saying leave the money where it was, there was no previous designation, and that's why we presented this resolution to designate it to go not only toward downtown, but in the districts through these grants. We don't want to give all of the resources to MATA, and we don't want to give all of it to sit in the pot. When we have so many challenges in our districts right now, we've been looking for funding, and here is the pot. This pot, the money that was designated only spoke to how you can use the money that was in the extension fund. That's fine. We're not asking for any of that money. We're looking at the profit that it's going to generate. And when I say profit, I mean after the maintenance costs that are involved, what's left, I was told by administration as well as Ms. Oswald that it was the minimum of $750. $50,000 per year. That's well enough money to take care of the districts through grants. The only type of grants that we have that are available for the directly to benefit the communities at this point in this form would be those crime prevention grants. But this is an opportunity to have a community transportation and mobility enhancement grant in our districts. We know the problems that we're having in our districts, and this resolution lends to address those.
Okay, Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Councilman Warren was before me in the queue.
Okay, I'm sorry, Councilman Warren.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, thinking about this, I understand what Councilwoman Logan wants to do. And I think the issue is, how do you take these funds and then suck them out of a project, whereas Councilman Ford says they may need to be placed there to pay on debt depending upon what happens. I think a cleaner way to do this would be for us to look and say, whatever the profit is we're getting out of this, as a council, let's assign grants out of our general fund that we're going to use in the communities to do the things Councilwoman Logan's talking about in her amendment. That way we're not commingling the funds and making them go. We just vote for it in next year's budget. And we let administration know that's what we're looking at. And we just say, okay, if we make $200,000 the first year, that's what we're going to take. And we'll put that out into the districts the next year. If we make $750,000 in 3 or 4 years, then we'll put that money on these projects. So I don't really want to tie these funds, but I want to proceed with the idea, whatever profit we have here, we're going to take that profit out of general funds later and take to the community in this sort of situation. And I don't know if it needs to be in grants that we as council members do, or whether the administration should bring us the projects and we give them the project types that we want. So I would prefer to do it that way. So I'm going to vote against this, but I think we need to bring this idea back to make sure that the funds get where they need to from a different pot. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Easter Thomas.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just wanted to support my colleague on this resolution, which is why I co-sponsored it with her. The issue is that we all have so many different calls from our constituents that's based around the simple items that was mentioned in the resolution, such as walkability of streets, street lights, corners, things that would probably not take that much to fix, but where do we get it from? And so since there was no any type of mention, not one mention of what these parking revenues would go to, and as we asked that question 2 council meetings in a row and did not receive a direct answer, as we do, as always, as council members, we're putting our constituents on a priority list, as well as the business of the city, and doing things that make sense. So instead of just being able to allow parking downtown to be efficient so that folks will be able to navigate, get downtown, do everything they need to do, we're also thinking about folks in Whitehaven. We're thinking about folks in South Memphis. We're thinking about folks in North Memphis, not just folks who stay downtown. Because whatever we're doing, we want to make sure that we're being equitable and accessible to everyone. So if we can pay to park downtown, why not be able to use some of that revenue to help others in our other outlying Memphis communities and neighborhoods? So that's the whole purpose of this resolution. I don't think it would be cleaner to take it to the funds and do all that, because there can always be someone who says we don't have it when we get to that budget meeting. But with this, we can already have it. So hopefully, colleagues, as earlier as you supported, that you will go ahead and support this so that we can support our communities while supporting downtown at the same time. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Thank you. Maker of the motion, the administration has made a recommendation, and I want to know, do you see it in the queue that we may want to say that this money, the profit cannot be spent until the council determines how to use it appropriately? This project will take at least 18 months and probably 2+ years before there will be any profits. So, Councilwoman Logan, do you mind amending your resolution?
I would like to hear from someone in administration to explain what they mean here.
Okay. Doug McGowan, are you available?
I don't believe that's an administration. I think that's a council admin.
Councilwoman Logan?
That was your lawyer making a suggestion.
Who?
Your lawyer.
Oh.
Trying to reach a compromise between you and Mr. Ford, because to the extent that there are profits and they're needed for capital improvements and other things on the project, they will be used and will not be available as profits. You're going to be 2 years out before you will even have any profits. So you got plenty of time to address this, as long as you restrict the money from going anywhere until you make that decision. It was just a suggestion. You can push ahead with your proposal if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
My concern.
Councilwoman Logan?
May I respond?
Yes.
My concern is that oftentimes we don't see it. Like earlier this year, we approved some things and it didn't happen. Or, there are always hidden costs or things that come about that projects funding is eaten up. So this pot of fund was not there initially. This is new money. This is new revenue that is subject to come in each year. And having it already designated or allocated should give us the opportunity to do some things in our community. I'm not understanding why we don't want to do that, or we want to just let it sit there when we already made allowances for the maintenance costs. After the maintenance of the project, $750 is supposed to be clear money. And to have it available for the community, that's why we're here, to look out for the community. So, I really am not clear on why we don't want to accept this money to assist the districts who are suffering. We are, the potholes, the sidewalks, everything that's going on in our districts, we are full aware. We get the complaints every day. So why would we want to just sit on the money when we can use the money and then find money for the others somewhere else if it happens to come up? But this is clear new money, new revenue stream that we don't have an excuse not to use it for the people in the communities.
I hear you. I think the question is, when will the money be available? And even assuming that your resolution passes, you still have to appropriate the money for those things you just identified. So I don't know why holding it until you get to absolutely do that hurts anything. I mean, I don't care either way. But I think what you got to do once you get the money, you still got to take that extra step to say, we want it to go to sidewalks in Whitehaven. We want it to go here or there or whatever. So I was just trying to get us down the road. And that's just my suggestion to try to get, address Councilman Ford's issue. I think it's going to be a lot harder than you think to allocate that money when 13 people will start trying to decide where it goes. But I'm just giving you some commentary and things to think about. That's all.
I appreciate that. And that's why I recommended the grants that are available for each district, which you know, just like you do the crime prevention grants, it's a certain amount that's applied for, and those grants go directly to the community. We don't have very many opportunities in our communities to apply for those types of grants that can assist specific problems that we're having. We just had a meeting about sidewalks. And, you know, the fact that people are not able to afford it. We're constantly talking about potholes. We're constantly talking about walkability and lack of funding for traffic calming in the district. This is an opportunity, colleagues, to do just that, to put our money where our mouths are. And so, you know, we really need to move forward. This is really simple, to just say that we're going to use the money in the community after we pay for the maintenance cost of the parking.
Councilwoman Logan, can I get some of the other council members and we come back to you?
Definitely. Thank you,
This is
Chairwoman.
Councilman Boyd. Can I make a comment? A lot of the issues and items that you had, that would fall under the CIP, okay? And I think our attorney, Alan Wade, was trying to explain some different things. That's why I even brought Alan up when we were talking about the water, that how much did we pay? Councilman Wade, how much was that you said that we had to pay?
We used 2.5 million towards the arena bonds.
Okay, that came up all of a sudden, right? Okay, that's just one issue. We have a lot.
How much did we pay? We received about 2 million to offset our water costs that we were paying, that we were getting free.
There you go. That we were getting free. These are the type items in which I'm talking about. That's just one. I think if Alan, you can probably pull up 3, 4, 5, 6 more of them. You know, those type particular items. You know, it's more to it than what. This sounds good. I have no problem. Hey, it's a good thing, but hey, you got to dig a little bit deeper than just saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. Hey, sidewalks, fine, you know, but you got issues with sidewalks. You know, when it comes down to that, hey, when it comes to neighborhoods, that's where another problem is going to come in. You know, some of those items, hey, they sound good, but hey, there's more to it than just sounding good. And right now, I don't think this is the time. I'm asking, hey, you know, it's up to 13 of us. I mean, you know, do what you feel. But I think this is not the correct time. The money's not there right now. It's going to be down the road. We don't want to obligate ourselves to something, and all of a sudden we come back next year and say we've done something that we should not have done. This happened before. We need to look at what we're doing right now. A lot of times, hey, we're making a lot of mistakes. We don't need to bring this new year in with some mistakes that we have to try to correct later. You know, a lot of things are good, but there's more to it than just being good. Okay. Now, whoever else want to talk, I appreciate it, but this is not the time.
Thank you, Councilman Ford. Councilman Carlisle, Easter Thomas, and Coville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Councilman Ford. I have a lot of issues with this, but I mean, what are Manny and Robert going to do if we start granting money away from their ability to do potholes and paving, and not to mention the fact that there's a $50 million bucket of money that we just appropriated, or rather the citizens voted for, that's going to go towards paving. There's no grant process. I don't know who you're going to grant to do sidewalks and potholes in neighborhoods with very little to no oversight. And at the end of the day, all of that aside, this money came from the downtown area for mobility. And so the idea that we could utilize it for public transportation is very equitable when you talk about getting people to and from and in and around the city. We continue to talk all throughout the year about how MATA is so important to us and how important it is as an economic driver to the city. And we appropriate $2.5 to $3 million a year in grants. We have a $19+ million paving budget. We have $6 million we give to pre-K and maybe more. We have a series of administrative grants to local organizations, to CDCs. We have housing and community development. All of these organizations And yet we have this one bucket of money that's for mobility to go to MATA. And we spend all year talking about how MATA needs more money. And we're over here trying to decide, divvy it up and let people just kind of toss money out into their communities as they see fit. Like it's just problematic, in my opinion. That all of that being said, to Councilman Ford's point, there are 13 members on this body. We've discussed this in committee. We've got a vote coming up on the mobility center as it is. And so I move the previous question so we can call the vote and keep moving through the city's business. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Carlisle. We had 2 people already in the queue, and then we'll call for the question. Councilwoman Easter Thomas and Councilman Covett.
Thank you, Chairwoman. You can just call for the question. I retract my comment.
Thank you, Councilman Covett.
Concur. Call the question.
Councilwoman Logan, I promise that I allow you to close us out.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just want my colleagues to make sure that they are understanding that we are looking at what we can do in the community. There was no designation prior to this, and I'm going to say this one time. If you go through many of the suburbs and urban areas, you see beautiful traffic calming type of development. You see all type of access and walkability. You see how the buildings have been renovated to allow for walking and biking. And you see flowers and things that are, and planters that are put in the road to move traffic around. There are some things that certain communities don't have access to because they don't have access to the development or funding that could be done by nonprofits and organizations in the development area, in the districts, but we don't have access to funding for that. And these grants can give certain communities access to beautify their area for walkability, for different lanes. We're not saying spend all the money or change the way we're doing capital improvement. We're just saying have some funding available to do some creative out-of-box thinking to enhance transportation mobility, walkability in the districts that need funding to do that and don't have pots of money for it. So to say that we don't have the funding, this is brand new money. This is money that was not allocated. So let's not say that we're taking money from MATA. We just read in Daily Memphian that ridership is down in MATA and that they don't know due to COVID if that's going to improve and when. So, and then to say that this money is not going to be available for 2 years, we're not on any time frame. So that's no big issue whenever the money is available. And I still hold to the fact that I feel very strongly that this is an opportunity for us to improve in our outlying areas, but we're being very closed-minded, and it's going to take all the council members, and I will go with the will of the body, but I still stand by the fact that this is an opportunity that we could have improved in our neighborhoods with transportation, mobility, walkability, in all of these areas that we generally don't have funding for. And, we're determining how we're going to prioritize our constituents. With that, Chair, I yield back. And I hope my colleagues will put the constituents first.
Thank you. Madam Comptroller, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Canali,
No.
Carlisle,
No.
Vice Chairman Covett,
No.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
No.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
No.
Riley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
No.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Yes, that motion passes. We Ms. Logan, would you please work with the staff and come up with a committee to talk about these items for our budget? This is a budgetary item. Thank you.
And I would like to be added as a co-sponsor of this, please, Ms. Councilwoman Logan.
Thank you. Definitely.
Okay. Madam Comptroller, does that conclude? No, we have some more. Item number 41.
Item number 41 is a resolution authorizing approval of the use of the pilot extension fund for payment of indebtedness or costs with respect to development of parking and other mobility projects by the Downtown Mobility Authority and otherwise providing with respect to the foregoing. This resolution is sponsored by the administration. There's a request for same night minutes.
Committee met, recommend approval, I so move.
Second.
I think Chair Lady's screen is freezing. This is Colvette. I'll take it from here until she gets back up. Ford moved it. Who seconded it?
Thank you.
Warren. All right, it's been moved by Ford, seconded by Warren. Council Lady Easter Thomas, are you in the queue on this item?
I am, but you can read the letters first.
Very good. Colleagues, we have a letter from Joe. We have 3 letters. Joe Kent, related to this item, the pilot extension fund. This item should be delayed or referred back to committee for future consideration. Only after all city council members view the video of item 27 of the Shelby County Commission, considering this matter at their December 7th, 2020 meeting. As evidenced by the commission video, there is just not sufficient information available to consider approving the DMC pilot extension fund matter, and DMC currently owes the city $10 million for parking garages. Secondly, related to this item, and Edge, can someone ask Edge, based on city and county records and the Edge Poplar Plaza project summary, why net property tax impact was overstated by $5 to $6 million to Edge Poplar Plaza term sheet? This overestimate came in the form of understated pre-pilot tax revenue and overstated project revenue. The overstated occurred at the August 19th Edge board meeting in support of an approved approximate $15 million residential pilot supported by the University of Memphis. When using corrected figures, taxpayers lose $2 million in existing taxes over the 15-year term at a property located at one of the most desirable locations in the city. Shouldn't Edge be required to consider the Poplar Plaza pilot with corrected values and term sheet? Scott Henninger of 66 Monroe Avenue writes, on the agenda, you are considering a parking plan by the Downtown Memphis Commission. To introduce myself, I'm a landscape architect, certified urban planner with an urban design background, and 20-year resident of the Shrine Building who is writing to ask you to place a hold on the parking plan. The plan as it currently exists is not the highest and best use of parking funds, and no detailed parking study exists to model the parking needs of the downtown core. The downtown core will have significant deficit of parking if the current plan to remove the riverfront garage is approved. For at least a decade, our building has been looking for a long-term lease for reasonably priced, convenient parking. The Brinkley Plaza parking garage is more convenient, but is completely reserved for the office building. Metro 67 Garage would like to charge over twice the monthly parking fee as the riverfront garage. First Place Garage on 2nd Street has no availability for monthly passes for our building, as well as the Parking Can Be Fun Garage on Union. Furthermore, there will be a massive parking shortage in the core if the Steric building is redeveloped and the Raymond James building finds a new tenant, neither of which will be possible without adequate parking in the downtown core. Many surrounding buildings share our concern and respectfully ask that the parking allocation be paused until a parking solution for area stakeholders is established. As an urban designer, I believe the Brooks Museum can be designed to incorporate the existing riverfront garage into the design, possibly saving the museum and city funding. What should be done is place the Brooks Museum on the footprint of the fire station headquarters expand the parking garage south to Union under the museum, convert the rooftop of the existing riverfront garage to Park Plaza, connect the museum and garage park to the Cossett Library via pedestrian bridge over Monroe Avenue, change the primary access to the parking garage to Monroe Avenue where a dormant entrance exists, and remove the front street vehicular entrance to the garage, converting the front street turn lane into and out of the garage into a vastly improved sidewalk and streetscape. The problem is our building and other stakeholders have been cut out of the Brooks Museum process while we're assured by the city and DMC that we would have a long-term parking solution and by the Brooks that we would be a stakeholder. I would be glad to participate as a designer to help with a solution that would incorporate the parking needs of the downtown core, accommodate the Brooks Museum, and create a public asset to the city that we can be proud of. Thank you for your time. Lastly, Lee Kripel of 5050 Poplar Avenue, that's a business address. Dear honorable council members, as the association manager for the Shrine Building, I've been asked to send this letter on behalf of not only the Shrine owners and residents, but also by several of the businesses and other residents in the downtown Memphis Central Business District. This has been submitted to the council's website request for comments. We are deeply concerned about the proposed parking changes to the riverfront garage. The Brooks Museum is planning to demolish the city's public parking garage at Front Street in Monroe without plans to replace the 638 parking spaces which are used by the downtown stakeholders. This garage was completely full before the COVID-19 and will be again when the pandemic is over. There's a large $62 million garage with 1,400 cars proposed near the Orphan, but this does nothing to help the CBD stakeholders. Please postpone the vote on the approval of this project until an acceptable solution can be confirmed to replace the 638 spaces that are not retained under the current Brooks Museum proposal or on the property is required to serve the CBD. Affected properties include, but are not limited to the following: U of M Law School, Brinkley Plaza, including the Immigration Court, Cotton Exchange Building, Shrine Building, Businessman's Club Building, that is home to the Crumpford, McNabb, Gorgos, Burgess, and Soren, Residence Inn by Marriott, Flight Restaurant, Felicia Suzanne's, Little Tea Shop, Bar Dog Tavern, Hugh Hotel, Memphis Travel, Marcel's, Memphis and May, Family Dollar, Starbucks, and other businesses and stores who use the riverfront garage. We respectfully request a comprehensive solution be made and accepted by these and the remaining stakeholders in the Central Business District. We are not opposed to the Brooks Museum coming to our neighborhood. However, not at the expense of our 638 car parking garage on which we and other visitors depend. Respectfully, concerned downtown stakeholders. That concludes our letters. I don't see Chair Lady back, so I'll keep it going. I'm back to Council Lady Easter Thomas.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I move to amend this. What is this? Resolution. It's not an ordinance. Yeah, resolution on page 2 and 3, where it mentions revenue, where it says pursuant to the master lease and construction of the Brooks Museum garage on the site of Monroe Garage and the renovation of the Shoppers Garage to provide that the net income from the Mobility Center after payment of capital expenditures and reserve and replacement funds be used by the Mobility Authority for mobility initiatives and provide for extension of the term of master lease is hereby authorized and approved. And then in the above section, it says, whereas it is proposed that the master lease be amended to provide that any net income from the Mobility Center after payment of capital expenditures and reserve and replacement funds be paid as rent by the Mobility Authority by payment to matter for use for mobility programs. I mean that we remove this as we just passed the number 40 last resolution so that we aren't putting ourselves in a juxtaposition.
Thank you.
All right, I have an amendment that basically strikes that paragraph. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so that we're not caught up in a bind.
Okay. I have an amendment. Who seconded it?
Round up. Councilwoman Logan.
All right. Moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Logan. The amendment is on the floor. Mr. Carlisle, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. First, I just want to address a comment made in the chat box by Councilwoman Logan that said, thank you, colleagues, for prioritizing our communities and citizens. That felt backhanded to me, as if my philosophy that MATA wouldn't be prioritizing communities. So I just wanted to put that out there as that I felt personally jabbed at. That may not have been your intent, but we can agree to disagree on how we prioritize communities. But just because we disagree specifically about how the money's spent, I felt like that was a backhanded jab at me, that my priorities weren't the communities and citizens. I think public transportation and getting people to and from their jobs is certainly serving the communities. And that's why I was advocating for MATA. So I just wanted to state.
Councilman Carlisle, let us keep to the discussion at hand. The amendment, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry, Chair. So secondly to that, I object to the amendment because I still believe MATA is an appropriate use of these funds and have severe concerns about the prior amendment or the prior resolution just granting funds away without any oversight in a manner in which the city already plays a role and responsibility, such as we have a public works department that does potholes, sidewalks, and walkability. We have parks and neighborhoods that handle those things. Granting them to nonprofits with no oversight to do the roles that the city's already doing is a severe concern. And I think MATA is an appropriate source for these funds. That I yield back.
Can I respond, Chair?
Yes, Ms. Logan, but please let's keep it to the motion at hand.
Okay, that's me, Easter Thomas. So I'll be at the motion at hand. Just to say that I hear you, Councilman Carlisle, and why you're in opposition to this. But if we do not remove this from this resolution, then it'll be in opposition to what we've already have on the books and approved. So this is going from the advisement we received earlier, just to make sure that we're in line and that we're doing things the right way. If the last item wouldn't have passed, then I wouldn't have brought it up.
Thank you, Council Lady. We go to Councilman Morgan. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So just to double check, the resolution that was passed, item number 40, is what we had in our documents on page 75 and 76, and it wasn't amended in any way, correct? There wasn't like a later language that came out. Okay, I was just checking because we talked a lot about grants. I don't see the word grant anywhere in here, and the actual language is a recommendation to the administration to determine the feasibility. And there is no new money right now. There is no revenues that's being collected from these garages. These garages haven't even been constructed. So I think we should leave the language in item number 41 as it is, because it may very well be that the administration, as being asked in this, determines what's being requested by council isn't feasible, or maybe is not in the best interest of the city. It was a big confusion as we were talking about grant language, and what it really sounded like was more contract for work, which again, I didn't bring it up in the last discussion because I think honestly the feasibility of this is going to determine that we're going to have some legal problems if the council is going to start, it's not grants, it's contracts to do work, to repair roads, to repair sidewalks, to construct certain things. So I think we should leave the language in. There's no rush whatsoever because again, these garages aren't even constructed. There's not $1 of revenue coming in anytime soon. Certainly not in 2021. So let's just leave it in as is, vote on it tonight. And then the feasibility of whether or not resolution or agenda item number 40 is even possible can be looked at by the administration. And if not, we have the language in agenda item 41 to fall back to.
Chair, can I respond?
I tell you what, before we do that, I'd like to hear Council Lady Logan, and then we'll let Easter Thomas close it out. Fair enough? All right, Council Lady Logan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. You all were sent the correct or the updated resolution. You should have received it prior to this onset of the meeting. So if you have any concerns about the one you have, please check with your staff because you should have received the final draft that was the one entered. If there's concern, and we will, I don't know what the comments were, but or how they were received, but it no ill intent was with that. It was just a thank you. But I do want to say that I agree. We don't want any ambiguity. Can you all? Is there an echo?
A little
Okay.
bit.
I just wanted to make sure that it was understood that we will be working with administration and we're not going to be doing anything that would put the body at risk. So let's just move forward with goodwill that we're going to be working for the good of the body in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Logan. Council Lady Easter Thomas, why don't you close us out on this amendment?
I was just gonna kind of echo what Councilwoman Logan said, so I'm glad she went first. But the updated of the resolution still states that these would go to walkability, transportation, and mobility in our districts. It doesn't say that those grants would be to nonprofits in the community. It doesn't say that those would be with businesses. Those could be right back to public works if that's what they're doing. But I think that term just gives it a nominal name for us to reference to be able to know where that money is coming from. And I do push back on the statement of what's the rush, because we rushed this. So we might as well add it with it just to ensure that we're not forgetting about it when it comes later. If we're going to pass something, we want to make sure that we pass it in its entirety and not leave it to look at it later. If we're going to leave it to amend it later, we might as well hold it to vote on it later. So I'm just saying this amendment should go ahead and come with the vote so that we can make sure we know what's coming from it and that we're not confused a year, 2 years down the line for what we voted on in December 2020.
All right, thank you. See no other members in the queue, nobody waving at me looking to be recognized. All right, I assume you're ready to vote. Chair Lady Patrice?
Update me on what happened while I was trying to get back online. My internet service went out.
Well, it was totally great. The world is now a better place. Everything's fine.
But what
Okay.
am I voting on?
Nobody smiled at that one. Okay, we're on item 41. A motion to amend was made by Council Lady Easter Thomas, seconded by Logan, to specifically strike a paragraph that I was actually about to ask Council Lady Easter Thomas to reiterate the paragraph she is striking. Therefore, a yes vote will strike the paragraph that she is about to speak to. A no vote leaves the paragraph in. Council Lady Easter Thomas, would you read the paragraph that we're striking?
I'll read it. Can I also ask that they display it just to make sure everybody's on the same
Staff,
page?
can we get that up on the screen, please?
It's on the second page at the bottom of the resolution. It's the last whereas paragraph.
I think, can you pull that up? If you have it ready. If not, let us.
Not that resolution, the DMA parking lot resolution.
That is the DMA resolution.
The resolution authorizing approval of the use of pilot extension funds for payment of indebtedness or costs.
Oh, my apologies. I do not have that one with me readily available. Can someone help me with that, please?
it.
Chair Lady, if you want to pick back up once we go through this, this is an amendment moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Logan.
And this is an amendment to,
Item 41.
okay.
Okay, now we're cooking. Page 2 at the bottom. It must be different than the one I had. Okay. It's on the next page then. Mine printed out differently at the top. Was it striped out? Because on the sheet I have, Lakeith, you might be scrolling too fast. Go up. Okay, on the version I have, it's 2 sentences added in, where it says, whereas is right under that lease extended. I don't see that on your version that you pulled up, Lakeith, but that's the version that was in our packet. The version you have doesn't mention what to do with the net income, which is fine with me, but I want to make sure that we're on one accord. Do you want me to just read it? Or I think it would be more efficient if folks saw it, but
we need to see it. I think everybody's looking at us now. We've got to make sure we all know what we're voting on, what's in the actual resolution.
yeah.
It's going to take us an extra minute, but let's get it right.
So on the bottom of page 72, yeah. So it says, whereas it is proposed that the master lease be amended to provide that any net income, Councilwoman Johnson said resend by email. Whereas it is provided that the master lease be amended to provide that any net income from the mobility center after payment of capital expenditures and reserve and replacement funds be paid as rent by the mobility authority by payment to MATA for the use of mobility programs. I'm asking that be strike through. Also, if you look at number 2 on the now therefore be resolved, it repeats the same thing. In line 3 of number 2, pursuant to the master lease and construction of Brookings Dam Garage on the site of the Monroe Garage and renovation of the shopping center, where it comes after the second I, to provide that the net income from the mobility center after payment of capital expenditures and reserve and replacement funds be used by the mobility authority for mobility initiatives. I'm proposing that we take out 2.ii. Is that how you refer to that? 2.ii. And then also that former whereas, 4-line whereas that we just read at the bottom of page 72 in the top of page 73. Because it speaks directly of net income, which we already decided with the former resolution. Chairwoman.
Okay, colleagues. Chair Lady, you want me to proceed?
I'm really confused now. We moved from one resolution that states that, yeah. What did you say, Councilwoman Johnson?
I'm confused too, and I have a question if I could speak, Chair.
Frank, you got the meeting.
All right, no problem. Council Lady Johnson, ask your question.
If you remove those two items, what is the purpose of the resolution? Am I missing something here now?
Can I respond? Sure.
Yes. I don't know. I'm sorry, Chief.
Okay. Removing those two items for the resolution makes it possible for what we just voted on to be able to provide the districts with community money for mobility, transportation, and walkability.
Chair, may I ask another question?
Please.
It's not that I didn't understand that, but I want to know if you remove those items, will the resolution have any merit? Why do we need to continue with the resolution?
They weren't there in the first place. They were added later.
Councilman Morgan, you have a thought?
Yeah, the primary point of agenda item number 41, the resolution, is the construction of the mobility center and the $62 million worth of garage and garage improvements. This was just a paragraph talking about the revenues generated from those garages after the fact. So really the most crucial part of the resolution is the ability to move forward with construction on the mobility projects. So even if the amendment that Councilman Isha Thomas is proposing passes, and that language is removed, the core of the resolution is still in place and still very much important.
So is it, all right, I don't have anybody else in the queue. Is it very clear what we're striking, but is it also clear that if the group decides to strike the language, we still need and should pass and work on the body of the remaining resolution? It's important to get in the garages and all that going. I see no one else in the queue. I see no one else seeking attention. Therefore, I assume you're ready to vote on this amendment. A yes vote strikes the language. A no vote leaves it in there. That being said, Val, call roll.
Councilmember Canali?
No.
Carlisle?
No.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
No.
Easter Thomas?
Yes.
Ford?
No.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
Aye.
Logan?
Aye.
Morgan?
No.
Smiley? Swearingen?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson?
No. Where did Smiley? I didn't have his response.
Chair,
I haven't had a vote from him.
Smiley had to leave briefly, so
Okay.
actually you'll call on me for the remaining of his stuff. He'll be back on shortly. Colleagues,
Go ahead.
double check my math. I got 6-6 tie, therefore the amendment fails.
Correct.
I got 6-6.
Therefore the amendment to strike fails. We're back to the main motion as it is written in toto. I do not see any other members in the queue. Nobody looking to wave at me. Colleagues, I assume you're ready to vote on item 41. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali?
Yes.
Carlisle?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert?
Yes.
Easter Thomas?
No.
Ford?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Jones?
No.
Logan?
No.
Morgan?
Hold up, Smiley.
Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Smiley? Swearingen?
No.
Warren?
Yes.
Chairwoman Robinson?
Aye.
That motion passes. Madam Comptroller, call item 42, please.
Item number 42 is a resolution accepting grant funds in the amount of $2,818,188.80 and transferring $1,400,000 to repair 11 bridges on or over Sam Cooper Boulevard. The project number is PW01253. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Comptroller. I do not think Councilman Smiley is with us. If he is not, Councilman Morgan, will you go ahead and move this and let me get a second?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee met, recommended approval, and I so move.
Second.
I have a second from Councilman Canale. I see no members in the queue, nobody waving at me. I assume you're ready to vote on item 42. Val, roll call.
Canale,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen, Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson. Do I have
Chair Lady Robinson, what was your vote, please?
and also Mr. Colvett? Do I have a quorum?
We can always revisit that and capture her vote, but either way, that item passed. Item 43.
Item number 43 is a resolution to transfer and appropriate capital pay-go funds in the amount of $2,724,500 and appropriate stormwater system revenue funding in the amount of $2,700,000 for drain maintenance heavy equipment facility expansion project. The number is ST04047. The project total is $5,424,500. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilman Smiley's not back with us, so Councilman Warren, will you move this for me, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, did you say Warren or Morgan? Second by Morgan.
Moved by Warren, seconded by Morgan. See no council members in the queue. Nobody waving at me. So we're ready to vote. Moved by Warren, seconded by Morgan. You're voting on item 43. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canale,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Go. Administration. They fuck up anything.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson. Chairwoman Robinson,
Aye.
thank you.
That motion passes. Call item 44.
Item number 44 is a resolution to transfer and appropriate funds in the amount of $14,165,300 in FY21 CIP project number SW04007 for the relocation of environmental, maintenance facility. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you very much. Can I go ahead and get a motion to approve in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Warren, seconded by Canali. I see no members in the queue, nobody waving, looking for attention. Moved by Warren, seconded by Canali. I assume you're ready to vote on item 44. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
The motion passes. Call item 45, please.
Item number 45 is a resolution extending the City Council renaming commission term for 3 months from July 21st, 2021 to October 21st, 2021. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Easter Thomas. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Councilor Easter Thomas, would you like to move this?
Yes, sir, I would. Move
So
it.
moved. May I have a second?
Second. Swearingen.
Seconded by Mr. Carlisle. Seeing no members in the queue, nobody waving at me. Moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Carlisle. Assume you're ready to vote on item 45. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Call item 46, please.
That was, I believe, on my consent agenda, sir. I think we're ready for our regular agenda.
We have 47, 48.
47,
We got
48.
47, 48.
Vice Chair Colvette.
Okay.
For the comptroller, for the record, I'm going to step out. If you'll put me down on 47 and 48 as recusals, please. Thank you.
So noted for the
Thank
record.
you, sir.
Let's call 47.
Item number 47 is an ordinance designating qualified public use facility, creation of the One-Bill Tourism Development Zone tourism surcharge, and otherwise providing with respect to the foregoing. Up for first reading, ordinance number 5770 is sponsored by the administration.
Thank you. Councilman Ford.
Thank you. Committee met, recommend approval. I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Canali. I see no members in the queue, nobody waving at me. I assume you're ready to vote. Moved by Ford, seconded by Canali. This is item 47. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Recused.
thank you. Vice Recuse, that's correct. Vice Chairman Covette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. I'll call 48, please.
Item number 48 is a resolution authorizing lease agreement, providing for the lease of the One Bill Phase 4 hotel project to be located at 1 Bill Street by Memphis Center City Revenue Finance Corporation to the City of Memphis, Tennessee, and the sublease of the One Bill Phase 4 project by the City of Memphis, Tennessee to Memphis Center City Revenue Finance Corporation and other related documents and matters. This resolution is sponsored by the administration, and there is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Ford.
Committee met, recommend approval. I so move.
Second.
Seconded, moved by Ford, seconded by Canali. I see no members in the queue, nobody waving at me. Assume you're ready to vote. Moved by Ford, seconded by Canali. This is item number 48. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Recused.
thank you. Vice Chairman Colette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas, Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Chairwoman Robinson votes yes.
Aye.
Thank you. Item passes.
Thank you.
Let's do item 33.
Can you repeat the item that you asked me to call, sir?
33.
33, thank you. Item number 33 is a resolution accepting the Public Safety Task Force Committee recommendations for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining public safety officers. This resolution is sponsored by Public Safety Task Force. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you very much. Before I recognize Council Lady Swearingen, did you get that Council Lady Logan voted yes on item 48?
Yes.
Very good. This is item 33. Council Lady Swearingen, you're recognized.
This item received a favorable recommendation during committee and I so.
Second.
Moved by Swearingen, seconded by Warren. I see no members in the queue. Nobody waving. So you're ready to vote. Moved by Swearingen, seconded by Morgan. You're voting on item 33. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colette,
Yes.
Easter Thomas, Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. All right, let's go back to our regular agenda. Item 20.
Chairman,
Item number
One.
Oh, time out. Somebody called me.
I'm
Council
sorry,
Lady Logan?
Logan, my vote was yes.
Council Lady Logan's vote on item 33 was also a yes.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I do have that noted. Item number 20 on our regular agenda is appointment to the Civilian Law Enforcement Review Board, Willie Ward Jr. To the Memphis Animal Shelter Advisory Board, Jennifer Carnes, DBM. To the Memphis Housing Authority, Shauna Ingalls. To the Memphis Landmarks Commission, Raymond Browning Gill IV. To the Memphis and Shelby County Land Use Control Board, a reappointment, Raymond Browning Gill IV. That concludes our appointment.
All right, thank you. Councilman Carlisle?
Thank you, Vice Chairman. The committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Need a second?
Morgan seconds.
Got a second by Morgan. I see no members in the queue. So we're ready to vote. Moved by Carlisle, seconded by Morgan. This is item 20, Val roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones, Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Let's call item 21.
Item number 21 is an ordinance amending and restating Chapter 25 of the City of Memphis Code of Ordinances governing the city pension system, up for third and final reading. The ordinance number is 5763. It is sponsored by the administration. It was held from December 1st.
Thank you very much, Councilman Carlisle.
Thank you again, Vice Chairman. The committee met and I move substitute ordinance, the substitute ordinance amending and restating Chapter 25 of the City of Memphis Code of Ordinances governing the city pension system, up for third and final reading, ordinance number 5763.
So you are moving it as amended.
As I'm moving the substitute ordinance. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Carl, seconded by Councilman Morgan. I see no other members in the queue. So be ready to vote on item 21. Val roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan.
Aye.
Thank you. Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 23, please, Madam Comptroller.
Is a resolution appropriating $360,000 funded by GeoBonds General and CIP project number GA3007 fixed route buses to fund the purchase of fixed route buses as part of the fiscal year 2020 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Thank you very much. Councilman Smiley is not with us, so I need a motion and a second, please.
Move it.
So moved. Second, Warren.
Moved by Carlisle, seconded by Morgan. Seeing no members in the queue, so we're ready to vote. This is item 23. Val roll call.
Councilmember Canali, Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Please call item 24.
Item number 24 is a resolution appropriating $50,000 funded by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03011, paratransit buses, to fund the local share for purchasing paratransit buses as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Can I go ahead and get a motion in a second?
Move it.
Moved by Canali, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue. I'll get to Smiley. It seems he's back. Moved by Canali, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue, I assume you're ready to vote on item 24. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
JB in the queue says he is a yes vote. That item passes. Please call item 25.
Thank you very much. Item number 25 is a resolution appropriating $50,000 by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03022, Advanced Public Transportation Systems, to fund the local share for purchasing advanced public transportation systems as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Thank you. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second, Carlisle.
Moved by Warren, seconded by Carlisle. See no members in the queue. Assume you're ready to vote on item 25. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley, Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
And please also note that Councilman Smiley said yes. He is a yes vote in the queue. That item passes.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Yes, ma'am. Please call item 26.
Item number 26 is a resolution transferring, allocating, and appropriating FY21 CIP funds in the amount of $250,000 by GeoBonds for MATA CIP project number GA03023, operations maintenance, to CIP project number GA03027, Central Station Project. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Warren, seconded by Canali. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 26. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Aye.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Call item 27.
Item number 27 is a resolution appropriating $50,000 funded by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03024, Rail Facility Improvements, to fund the local share for rail facility improvements as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Thank you. Dr. Warren, would you and the good-looking 14th councilman like to make the motion?
So moved.
Outstanding. Who's seconding?
Second.
Morgan,
Carlisle.
All right, moved by Warren, seconded by Morgan. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 27. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones, Logan. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Call item 28.
Item number 28 is a resolution appropriating $50,000 funded by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03025, bus facility improvements, to fund the local share for bus facility improvements as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by NASA.
All right, need a motion and a second, please.
So moved. Second.
All right, moved by Canali, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 28. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Call item 29.
Item number 29 is a resolution appropriating $165,000 funded by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03026, rail vehicles, to fund the local share for purchasing rail vehicles as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
We get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Canali, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote. Item 29, Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Thank you. Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 30.
Item number 30 is a resolution appropriating $1,159,840 funded by GeoBonds General in CIP project number GA03028, Midtown Area Connector, to fund the local share for the development of a new bus rapid transit line connecting downtown with the University of Memphis as part of the fiscal year 2021 capital improvement budget. This resolution is sponsored by MATA.
Thank you very much, Madam Comptroller. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Morgan,
Second.
second.
Moved by Canali, seconded by Morgan. Seeing no members in the queue, I assume you're ready to vote on item 30. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
thank you, Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Aye.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Call item 31, please.
Item number 31 is a resolution to provide funding for the Clean Pathways Initiative Program, contract number 358965, Lifeline to Success, and contract number 358975, Freedom from Unnecessary Negatives, extension 2. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division.
Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Morgan.
All right. Moved by Warren, seconded by Morgan. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 31. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Colbert,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan, Morgan, thank you, Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That item passes. Item 34, please.
Item number 34 is a resolution adjusting the FY21 operating budget to spend restricted funds received in FY20 in the amount of $120,000 for Memphis Animal Services. This resolution is sponsored by Memphis Animal Services.
Thank you very much.
moved.
Council Lady Easter Thomas, would you like to move this?
Yes, sir. Let's move it.
Outstanding. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second. Moved by Easter Thomas, seconded by Warren. Seeing no members of the queue, I assume you're ready to vote on item 34. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. I want to go to item 46 now that our chair lady is back.
You want to go to item number 36?
46.
What's 46?
We've already done 46.
Do we do that in consent?
Yes.
We did?
Mhm.
Yes,
That's it.
yes, Vice Chairman, we took care of that when I read the consent agenda. The only thing I show outstanding is number,
Is it 45?
35.
Yeah, we're down to almost the last of it.
You sure we got 45?
45.
We did 46.
my
In fact,
record,
35. 46 was approved on consent, and we did 47 and 48.
Okay, thank you.
All right, just making sure we got everything. Staff, I have same night minutes on items 14, 15, 33, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. And 48. Does that sound correct? I got a thumb, Morgan says go. I move it. Is there a second?
Morgan
Second.
seconds.
All right, moved by Colvett, seconded by Morgan. Seeing no members in the queue, I assume you're ready to vote for same night minutes. Val, roll call.
Councilmember Canali,
Yes.
Carlisle,
Recuse.
Vice Chairman Colvett,
Yes.
Easter Thomas,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Morgan,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Swearingen,
Aye.
Warren,
Aye.
Chairwoman Robinson.
Aye.
Thank you. That passes. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have one last letter to the council, but it was as regards sidewalks, and that was held. So staff, I'd like to hold that public comment till the next meeting. We're down to item 35. Val, please call that one.
Resolution thanking Chairwoman Patrice Robinson for her service and leadership as the 2020 Memphis City Council Chairwoman. This resolution is sponsored by Chairman-elect Frank Colvett Jr.
Thank you very much. Chair Lady, I'd like to read you a resolution and then potentially open your gift, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Whereas the final city council meeting of the year yields the opportunity to offer thanks and praise to City Councilwoman Patrice Jordan Robinson on her successful tenure as the 2020 City Council Chairwoman. And whereas understanding the demands on her time, the enhanced responsibilities and obligation to provide exemplary leadership as this body's chief representative, Councilwoman Robinson nonetheless accepted the confidence shown by her fellow members through her selection and embraced the task head on with skill and vigor. Nice box. All right, whereas Chairwoman Robinson has definitely guided the body through a challenging year marked by a global pandemic, which commanded a new way of conducting business, all the while welcoming a group of legislators elected to public office for the first time and earnestly considering the voices of Memphians taking to the streets, demanding that Black and brown citizens be treated with fairness under the law. And whereas when difficult circumstances arise, true leaders rise to the occasion. Chairwoman Robinson did just the same, exhibiting qualities worthy of our praise as she unflinchingly worked through every issue with consistency and an eye towards an equitable solution for all. And whereas we each encounter moments within life where our actions reverberate for others to recall, Chairwoman Robinson's tenure will be remembered for the manner in which she encountered the 2020 council year with grace, maturity, and reason, bringing forth key success in the process. And whereas the Memphis City Council was indeed fortunate and benefited greatly from Chairwoman Robinson's capacity to lead during extraordinary circumstances and to move the council forward together, let us emulate her actions as we continue our work on behalf of the city of Memphis. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Memphis City Council, the Councilwoman Patrice Jordan Robinson be congratulated on a highly productive term and thanked profusely for offering her tireless service to the Memphis City Council as the 2020 City Council Chairman, adopted December 15th, 2020. Frank Colvette, Vice Chairman, and I so move. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, lady.
Thank you.
You have some remarks, or do you want to go to the video?
I want to go to the video, then I have some remarks. Staff, will you please play the video?
Uh-oh, this must be for Bunny. Oh my God. Take a look like stickers better get you to the crowd.
We can hear you.
You need some sound, guys.
Maybe it's part of the video.
It wouldn't be 2020 without a technological glitch.
Before we close the final meeting of the year, it is an honor to be able to pass the gavel to Vice Chairman and soon to be Chairman Frank Colvette Jr. I want to thank everyone for what has been a productive year. We have navigated through many challenges and brought forth resolutions at each step along the way. As a result, I am proud of all we have accomplished for the citizens of this great city of Memphis. To Vice Chairman Colvette, Councilman Canali, Councilman Carlisle, Councilwoman Easter Thomas, Councilman Ford, Councilwoman Johnson, Councilman Jones, Councilwoman Logan, Councilman Morgan, Councilman Smiley, Councilwoman Warrington, and Councilman Warren. Thank you for your service over the last 12 months. I look forward to the progress we will continue to make over the next year. To my most capable staff person, Juanez Kissinger, thank you for your years of service, not just to the city council, but the city of Memphis. You have been instrumental in leading this phenomenal office, and you will be greatly missed. To the staff, you all have done an exceptional job in supporting not just the chairwoman, but the full council. Additionally, thank you, Cedric, for your work in protecting us And on behalf of us, doing all that you can through our council office, every Tuesday, you have worked to help us keep order in the house. Our own attorney, Alan Wade, we appreciate your work, your input, and your diligence. Finally, I want to thank all of the administration for working with me hand in hand throughout this year. Mayor Strickland, you have been a phenomenal support and administrator. Chief McGowan has listened to every one of my conversations about what we can do better in the city, and every division director that I've had to call upon for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You all have been great teammates as we work to move Memphis forward for the citizens of this great city that, like the mayor says, has momentum. With that said, it has been an honor to serve as your chairwoman. The experience is one that I will always cherish. However, I now have the privilege of passing the gavel to Chairman-elect Frank Colbert Jr.
Thank you, Chairwoman Patrice, for your tireless dedication these last 12 months as our chairman. Through onboarding new members to working through the COVID pandemic and helping shepherd us all through the council virtual world. Your leadership and your steady hand has been apparent through it all. Thank you. As we close the chapter on 2020, 2021, I look forward to serving with you all as a 13-member council team as we strive to make Memphis a prosperous place for all together. Together, we can and we will reach new heights.
Thank you, staff. Thank you for my gift. Thank you for an awesome year. And I know what I'm going to be remembered by. The year of COVID-19. God bless.
And
Frank, you got it.
Well, Chair Lady, I don't know where the phrase came from, but it just fits you. And the phrase is, nevertheless, she persisted. And that absolutely personifies your approach to all of this. I mean, part mom, part drill sergeant, part friend, part counselor. You made it happen and you made it work from curveballs that nobody saw coming. And I would dare say other chairmen have never even seen anything like this. You really, really made the difference. Thank you. There being no further business, I will entertain a motion to recess.
Motion to recess.
Second.
Been moved by Carl